Long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Vic, and I'm here with Kathy Connor at Connor Roofing. Kathy, what makes Connor Roofing different?
Hey, Vic. I'm glad that you asked. I think that what really sets Connor Roofing apart is our relationship with our customers. It's very important to us to develop that trust with the homeowner. This is what has allowed us to serve our friends and our neighbors in the St. Louis area for 30 years. Whether we are doing a roof or a gutter repair or even a full replacement, you can count on Connor for quality service and workmanship.
Thanks, Kathy. To find out more, visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
News Talk STL and Bless Jewelers are teaming up to celebrate dads this Father's Day. And we'd like to hear your best dad joke.
Bono and the Edge walk into a bar. The bartender says, "Not you two again."
Go to newstalkstl.com and share your favorite dad joke with us for a chance to win a $500 gift certificate to Bless Jewelers, just in time for Father's Day. Enter now at newstalkstl.com and visit Bless Jewelers at blessjewelers.com.
Here, because everything's ready to go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox.
In Fox News.
It's the latest when you need it, on demand, from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. I'm Ted Lindner, and this is the Fox News Rundown. Today, June 14th, is the anniversary of the official adoption of the American flag. Fox's Tanya J. Powers with the story.
Today is Flag Day, the day the U.S. flag was adopted by the Continental Congress in 1777 in the midst of the Revolutionary War. The congressional resolution, which outlined the uniform look of the flag, ended the series of different flags that colonial troops had fought under and was made necessary by the Declaration of Independence. President Woodrow Wilson made the observance of Flag Day official in 1916. While Flag Day is not a federal holiday, it is traditionally proclaimed by each president. And last week, President Biden released his, declaring today Flag Day and this week as Flag Week. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Former President Trump appearing in court Tuesday on 37 charges of willfully retaining classified documents. Fox's Eben Brown from Miami explains what the former president did after his court appearance.
Following his court hearing and before reaching the airport, former President Donald Trump made a special stop at the famed Cafe Versailles in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood.
Are you ready? Food for everyone. Food for everyone.
This is where Cuban dissidents planned the Bay of Pigs invasion. It is a focus stop for most politicians who come to Florida, and certainly among the Cuban Americans, they loved hearing from the former president. They even sang him happy birthday. June 14th is the president's 77th birthday. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
And it was back to New Jersey for the former president, who struck a defiant tone responding to the federal arraignment for unlawful handling of those classified records. Fox's Jared Halpern with more on that.
Speaking to hundreds of supporters at his Bedminster, New Jersey club, former President Trump says he's the target of a political persecution straight out of a fascist or communist nation.
This day will go down in infamy.
In a half-hour address, the former president and leading Republican presidential candidate says many predecessors have mishandled documents and faced no consequences, saying the special counsel, Jack Smith, is a thug.
He's a behind-the-scenes guy, but his record is absolutely atrocious. He does political hit jobs.
Smith sat in the same federal courtroom as Trump hours earlier for a first-of-its-kind arraignment of a former president. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Senate hosting closed-door briefings on artificial intelligence to inform lawmakers as concerns are on the rise. Fox's Aisha Hosni's got more on a mother that was manipulated by AI. She reports on that from Capitol Hill.
Jennifer DiStefano will never forget those terrifying cries over the phone. It sounded like her 15-year-old daughter had been kidnapped.
It wasn't just her voice. It was her cries. It was her sobs.
But it wasn't her daughter. The voice, artificial intelligence used by scammers. Senators heard her testimony today during a hearing on AI and human rights, which comes as the FBI tracks a rise in sextortion cases, where bad guys use AI to manipulate innocent pictures and videos into believable sexually explicit content, sometimes involving children. The U.S. is still behind Europe and China on regulating artificial intelligence, and calls for Congress to step in are growing louder.
And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is looking to educate lawmakers on AI and take the lead on outlining potential legislation. Well, the Golden Knights lifting the Stanley Cup on Tuesday evening. Fox's Eric Messersmith has all the details.
Vegas crushed the Florida Panthers 9-3 to win the NHL Finals Series 4-1 and capture its first Stanley Cup in franchise history. A brief history. The Knights only entered the league as an expansion team in 2017. The game was tight early, with Vegas clinging to a 2-1 lead in the second period before the Knights started rolling.
Here's Stevenson down the right side, dropping it back for Howden. Cross-ice pass. Stone! His second of the night!
That's how it sounded on TNT, with Mark Stone's goal, one of 4 straight Vegas ripped off to close the second period. I'm Eric Messersmith.
Some positive health news for those who partake in a little alcohol. Fox's Tom Rigotti.
Cheers to heart health. Light to moderate alcohol consumption can lead to a long-term reduction in the brain's stress activity, ultimately lowering the risk of heart disease. That's according to a new study by the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. Researchers found that 1 drink per day for women and 1 to 2 drinks per day for men is linked with reductions in stress signaling in the brain.
And I'm Ted Lindner. This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Wednesday, happy hump day with Chris, Katie, and I back in studio at 425. Mike Ferguson, 525. Larry Romano, King of Queens, Conservatives in Hollywood.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here. Excited to tell you about one of our newest clients. I've been a customer of them for years. Professional Irrigation Systems. If you're tired of dragging hoses around your yard to keep your grass alive every summer, now's the time to make your life easier. Residential irrigation installs in one day, custom designed for your property. They will enhance your curb appeal. They've also got landscape lightings, makes the architecture of your home stand out, making all your neighbors envious. Fertilization packages as well for all your lawn care needs and great financing options. ProIrrigation.com, 636-692-4441, ProIrrigation.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Mom's Day, Dad's Day, birthday, maybe wedding day. Whatever the special occasion is, make sure you get the right gift. And that's where my friends at Bluss Jewelry come in. Mike Ferguson here, and I was amazed at the choices in their Creve Coeur store. They're just west of 270 on Olive Road. If you're not sure what to get, don't worry. Ramona and her team will help you find the right piece at the right price. She's the store owner, and she spent her entire career helping families in St. Louis. Learn more at BlussedJewelers.com.
Hey, it's Vic. With today's high inflation, uncertain market conditions, and rising healthcare costs, you have enough on your mind. Don't let the high cost of long-term care be one of them. Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper's new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care, discusses tax efficiency challenges and asset protection. Get your free copy by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. This is a paid endorsement. Insurance, consulting, and education services Offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
The news and talk
Biden is trying to jail
that matters to St. Louis.
his leading political opponent, an opponent that's beating him by a lot.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Just like they do in Stalinist Russia.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first.
Do you feel like you're watching your nation crumble before your eyes? It's Jesse Kelly, television and radio host and now world-famous author. In my new book, The Anti-Communist Manifesto, I'll show you how communism has infected America, from its infiltration of our education system to its unholy alliance with American corporations. Don't be fooled by agitators hiding behind woke causes. The Anti-Communist Manifesto, a practical guide for patriots. Available now at all bookstores and online.
On this Wednesday, one of the worst things in life is being betrayed. And most Americans have experienced that. People we trusted violating our trust. Some take it in stride, others deeply affected. Betrayal has damaged countless lives throughout the ages. There is a reason Judas Iscariot has a prominent place in the New Testament. Jesus is very clear when he told Judas, it would be better had you not been born. Today, every single American is being betrayed by politicians and the media that consistently mislead. In my estimation, the Biden administration is as bad as the Nixon administration was in the deceit department. Just the president and vice president's recent statements on the economy alone are stunning examples of blatant falsehoods. Add to that the corporate media that covers for Mr. Biden's deceit and the news agencies that falsely reported the election results of 2020, and you have a nation besieged by lies. It's true. There's no denying it. Yet millions of Americans still approve of Joe Biden's job performance and continue to watch and read crooked, corrupt media. Why? I can't explain it. Yes, ideology can poison the mind, and many of us simply believe what we want to believe. But surely there is a deceit limit, or maybe not. Right back. If you are a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and done in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. So please call Lone Star Transfer 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend, with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
How confident are you that your vote, when you cast it, is secure and is being counted accurately? Well, that's one of the main jobs of the Secretary of State, both Illinois side and Missouri side. Missouri in particular going to elect a new Secretary of State next year. One of those candidates going to be in the studio with us. And if you've got questions for Shane Scholler, let me know. You can put them on the Rumble chat box. You can tweet them at us. And you can also put them in the Facebook comments. But we're going to talk to Shane a little bit later on today. All right, in St. Louis, a lot of moving parts happening, and so much of it involves violent crime, okay? This isn't a new concept to anybody. Recently, we found out that a big convention is leaving because St. Louis City is still not serious about addressing violent crimes. So where do we go from here? Jane Duker joined us on Tuesday's program to give us her take, and she made a lot of really good points. Here's what she had to say.
The wake-up call, I mean, there's been hundreds of wake-up calls, but one of the biggest ones comes over the weekend when Dot Foods says that conference that we've had here for decades is going to Denver next year. Maybe we'll come back, maybe we won't, but they explicitly say it's because your city is too dangerous and you're not doing enough to make it safer, and we just can't put 3,000 people in that kind of danger.
They're literally going to drive around us to get to Denver.
Yes. Jane Duker joins us right now, and Jane, the mayor, says she is sad about that. She's sad.
Yeah, she's very sad, but yet she doubles down on her, non-existent crime plan, basically saying we got to solve poverty, and that's our crime plan. And that's just not going to change. And she said, well, I had a crime summit. But that doesn't, there is no action plan that came out of that. There's nothing. They're going to do another report. We do reports every so often. The last one was the Teneo report. Which, by the way, the Teneo report that was funded, by interested business leaders, and I don't begrudge them. They're trying. Indicated that there needs to be a crime plan. That was 2 or 3 years ago, and we still don't have a crime plan. So you mentioned the defunding. We're already at least $50 million defunded out of the patrol in the St. Louis City Police Department. $10 million was taken out because the mayor, one of her first acts as mayor was to end the contract with the federal government that paid to house detainees that were being prosecuted by the feds, but they're city residents, and they would pay the city to house these federal detainees, city criminals, and the city made upwards of $10 million a year that helped subsidize other jail operations. But the mayor terminated that contract, and now the workhouse is going to be like a pet shelter. Even Gabe Gore has indicated, that there's going to be a problem because they're going to start prosecuting. And where are these detainees going to go? The downtown jail is still being fixed and is full, and they don't have alternative arrangements because the mayor refuses to open the workhouse that's sitting there. And so now the city is going to pay other jurisdictions to house city criminals. So that's a really bad development.
Good morning, Jane. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So we've got Chief Tracy in place. We've got Gabe Gore in place. But by the sounds of it, Tashara Jones and her administration is going to be an impediment to their progress. And we were talking about on the air that we're going to hold these guys accountable, and how long do we give them before we start reeling on them for not making any progress? But if they kind of run into the Jones administration and can't go anywhere from there, what's the future for St. Louis public safety look like?
Well, it is a little scary, and I think this is where we will find out if Gabe Gore is, what he's supposed to be, which is an independent prosecutor. Will he properly tell the public when, and if, I think it'll be when, the Jones administration is an impediment. So that'll be where we really see whether he has his mettle or not, because he's going to have to be honest about what's going on here. So the fact that sort of trial balloon has been sent out there through the political ether is that, look, we could be running into a jail problem soon. I hope that means that he's going to be very clear and it's not going to deter him from doing his job, nor will it deter the courts and say, oh, maybe we ought not, put people in jail because we don't have the space, because we can't have that. The chief, that's a little bit more problematic. She can fire him. So have been very concerned that while, the police like the chief and think that he has the skills, has the ideas and the capabilities of doing this job, will she let him do the job? I have a lot more concern on that end because of city control, the police department, she can fire him. So that is more concerning. Crime's not changing. I mean, nothing has changed, and I don't anticipate that it will. And so a crime summit is just a big stall tactic is all it is.
Hey, Jane, you mentioned the millions of dollars that are lacking when it comes to the actual patrols. My understanding is, and I'm a little unclear on some of the news coverage of it, that there's another proposal to divert some more money from the police department into other areas, social programs, stuff like that. What is actually proposed right now? What's the status of it?
Well, there are certain aldermen, new aldermen, Alderman Aldridge, who was a former state rep, and a new Alderwoman Sonye have both proposed in budget committee to try to divert positions from the police department to either the Department of Health or I forget the other agency. So they just want to take positions out of the police department and give them to social programs. That's absolutely right. It remains to be seen how many they will try to move. And I guess we'll see when there's a vote actually in committee on the budget and if they will try to amend the budget to do that. Whether they will have the votes to do that, it's unclear. So, but the fact that that's even being proposed or discussed is disturbing. I mean, at this point, luckily, Alderwoman Pam Boyd, she right away said, "Are you out of your mind?" And there were people that pushed back. But, you know, these are two aldermen that were pushed by the Jones administration, were supported by Megan Green, who wants to defund the police, the president of the board. So, you know, it remains to be seen whether the progressive wing of the Board of Aldermen will have sufficient votes to further defund. But what's interesting is, remember, appropriations are authorizations to spend. The Board of Aldermen could authorize another $50 million, that $50 million to go back to patrol, but the mayor does not have to spend it. And she proved that when she cut, another one of her first acts as mayor, is when she cut $5 million out of overtime, or $4 million, and then the Board of Aldermen put $5 million back into overtime, and she refused and never did spend it. So she has shown that, she is not going to spend more on police.
Hey, good morning, Jane. Stout Bonticus here. Since you mentioned the word alderman, if I can ask you, former city alderman Brandon Bosley was indicted on wire fraud. Any thoughts on that from your perspective?
Can I just say that of all the cases, this looks like one of the dumbest ones I've ever seen. But Jane, I'll let you take that. But I was reading that thinking, man.
What's fascinating about it is the amount of planning and steps taken to make a couple grand.
It was a lot of work.
A lot of work. So, I mean, the thing is that's John Doe. So the feds had John Doe out there taping all these, politicians. And so they, he got sucked into it. The problem with Brandon Bosley is he has a more significant criminal problem that I hope Gabe Gore will pick up, was that he claimed, he went on Facebook saying, "Oh, this woman tried to carjack me, but I fended her off." And, and this woman got arrested and spent Christmas in jail. And it turns out, and there's video to back this up, that he actually hit the woman with his car.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kim Gardner refused to prosecute.
Oh, wow. How come we've never heard of this story?
It was reported.
Okay.
Channel 5 did a story on it. And then it gets worse. So
worse than hitting her with his car?
Oh, no, he went back to where she was, laying in the street after being hit by his car. And he drove back, opened up the window, and trolled her on Facebook Live.
Oh, my God.
Like, "Oh, I got you when you tried to carjack me." So that is terribly frightening. And so Kim Gardner refused to prosecute. And, of course, the Bosleys supported Kim till the very end. I know that shocks everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the crime for which he should be prosecuted.
Wow. Now, earlier you mentioned the conversion of the workhouse into the animal shelter. I wanted to touch on that a little bit more. What's going on with that? I know, is this the same place that's had all of the troubles that have been in the news? Like, it got taken over that one time, the windows blown out, and all these other things. People complaining about problems.
That's the downtown jail.
Okay,
that's the downtown jail that is too crowded.
Okay.
So the downtown jail was never built to be a detainee house for years. Okay, it was meant to be basically a drunk tank. You know what I mean? These are people,
sleep it off.
The workhouse was designed for longer term detention, and because one, it has outdoors. Frankly, it's a better facility. It had programs, it had everything, but they decided this was a political stunt, a political, talking point. And there were aldermen that toured the workhouse and were like, this is fine. The federal government has higher standards than the city of St. Louis, and they believed the workhouse was appropriate for housing federal detainees. And so rather than make money on that, the city she's going to fulfill her political promise, which has nothing to do with the safety of either the detainees or the public. This is just her political promise. So they're going to shut this down and turn it into a pet shelter rather than properly deal with public safety. So now the city's going to have to pay surrounding jurisdictions to house these detainees. The feds are paying to send these detainees that are criminals in the city of St. Louis in other states, Kentucky, Indiana. And do you think that in Kentucky they're treating these detainees better than the city of St. Louis would? Of course not. And taxpayers are paying more to have these people transported, to have them see their lawyers, to be taken away from their families and their support systems. I mean, it violates every known sort of rehabilitation concept out there by sending these people to states all around.
All right, we're visiting with...
It's fiscally irresponsible. Sorry.
Oh, no, I jumped in there. Sorry. We're visiting with Jane Duker. And by the way, after a few months of being detained in Kentucky, they are going to come back, appear in court with a twang. I'm just
a little bit.
But, Jane, let me ask you from your lawyer perspective, assess Gabe Gore's early days. I mean, this guy walked into a really difficult situation, a lot of hiring that's happening. I know there's a lot that's happening behind the scenes, but from the perspective of a legal perspective and an administrative perspective and a law enforcement perspective, what are you seeing in the early days as far as how he's approaching his new job?
Well, I mean, he's got his plate full. So this is going to be a very epic challenge. He's hiring. I mean, that is the number one issue, is he's got to hire competent prosecutors. That appears to be happening. So that is the number one thing. You surround yourself with good lawyers. A lot of this can take care of itself. This was a functional office prior to Kim Gardner, and it seems to be they're getting people even from the prior administration. Mm-hmm. They're getting them back. Mary Pat Carl's back. Marvin Tears going back. That's a good thing. Where, again, I think the rubber's going to hit the road is when he starts functioning properly and he runs into the Jones administration. And how will that go? Will this be a I pat your back, you pat my back situation? Or will this be, hey, look, this is what we need to do here, and, enforce her to do what needs to be done to make sure that these criminals that they now need to prosecute actually get detained, and they move trials. If this is moving very smoothly, these detainees aren't in as long, which does help the jail population situation. If they're not standing, for 3 years because nobody can take a case to trial. So that should help the system in the pipeline if this starts working. It's going to be a while because they've got to catch up with all the cases. They've got to start, getting the backlog done. Yeah. Some of these cases are going to be irretrievable. Oh, yeah. And if I were Gabe Gore, I would, be very clear about what those cases are, and I would be doing a review of these cases and get them out of the pipeline as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of people don't even think about Jane, is that as you drag these on because you don't want to prosecute them, but they're in jail, you're clogging up the population to start with.
System. Yeah, absolutely. And the case is getting more stale, which makes even being able to prosecute that case more difficult. If those cases are irretrievable, clear them out now, because they're not his problem. He's picking up a mess. And if I'm him, I clear out as much of her mess, because eventually, if you don't have the sort of backbone to get rid of the garbage, you're going to own the garbage.
News Roundup coming your way here shortly. A little bit later on today, Republican candidate for Secretary of State Shane Scholler going to be joining us on the program in the 7 o'clock hour. But before that, let's get started with the News Roundup, which comes your way in just about 3 minutes and 43 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Larry Connors, USA.
And I'm against it. I'll fight it every step of the way, and so should you. And the parents who send their kids to this private school, we need to have a come to Jesus meeting.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight at 7 o'clock. But right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, Donald Trump's federal arraignment was surprisingly but fairly uneventful in the courtroom, at least. So what's next? Also, the failure of Missouri lawmakers to enact initiative petition reform may have left the door open for anti-Second Amendment activists to chip into our rights. And things get a little chippy at Busch Stadium between the Cardinals and the Giants.
So the operative word is chippy this morning.
Yes, let's go with that.
Okay.
All right, arraignment day is over in Miami, and Donald Trump made a brief appearance in federal court. Town Hall's Greg Clugston has the story.
Hillary Clinton broke the law.
Nah, wrong one. Let me go back to, I had another one highlighted there. Here's Greg Clugston.
Trump appeared in a Miami courtroom where his attorney said, "We most certainly enter a plea of not guilty." The former president is facing charges on 37 criminal counts, including obstructing the government's efforts to retrieve top-secret documents. As he rode in a motorcade to the courthouse, Trump denounced the prosecution in a series of social media posts.
And I'll have that other soundbite a little bit later on in the program. As far as what's next, not really sure. The judge is trying to decide how much time to give each side to submit their evidence to the other one and to the court. So updates a little bit later on here in just a few minutes. All right, some liberal activists are working on an initiative petition reform to chip into our Second Amendment rights in Missouri. The group calls itself Sensible Missouri. That's what they call themselves. And they hope to put their proposal on the ballot in 2024. Now, if voters pass this, it would allow counties and cities to enact gun control laws that are currently not allowed by the state and, frankly, not allowed by the Second Amendment. Now, remember, Missouri lawmakers chose not to increase the standard to pass constitutional amendments by initiative petition, so 50% plus one is all that the left needs to change Missouri's constitution, and you know that the lying campaign is right around the corner. All right, Citizens for a Greater Downtown St. Louis, that is an advocacy group in the city. They've been working on a study regarding what's needed to reverse the decline of the city. So they actually did this study, and they issued a report yesterday, Stel. You know what their groundbreaking conclusion is to what the city needs?
Go ahead, tell me.
They need more police.
I could have done that for free.
Exactly. Yes.
What kind of study do you have to make?
Yeah. So they had like an announcement, and here's their thing. And the rest of us are kind of going, yeah, we're not faulting you, but been saying that for years, folks. Wow. All right. Great work. Great work. All right. Republican lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are investigating, obviously, as we know, possible bribery allegations against then Vice President Joe Biden. Senator Marsha Blackburn, she's the firebrand Republican out of Tennessee, was on the story on Fox News last night to comment on the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, and this involved questioning FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate. She shares in part a question that she asked the deputy director, and she explains what prompted that question.
Is your job to protect the United States and the Constitution, or is it to protect Joe Biden? Because they have spent a lot of years providing cover for and not getting answers to what the Bidens have been up to.
And, of course, this is following recent accusations that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were paid by an executive from Burisma, which is an energy company in Ukraine, and we're talking millions of dollars, and we're waiting to see and hear the evidence.
Initially, we thought it was $5 million, and then all of a sudden, it's $10 million.
Yeah, well, at least at this point. We'll see. We'll see what it turns out to be. All right, going from bad to worse for the Cardinals. They lose to the Giants at Busch Stadium last night. Guarantees another series loss for the Cardinals. Final score 11-3. Jack Flaherty gets the loss after giving up 6 runs in 4 innings. 2 teams wrap up the series this afternoon with a 12-15 game. I will be there. I wonder if I'll see another bench clearing incident again. That happened yesterday.
When summer gets hot, the savings are sizzling at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Right now, all customers get cash price discounts up to $3,000 with 0% financing on all John Deere compact tractor packages. This is your chance to add a hard-working, versatile tractor to your equipment lineup. Visit snpartners.com for more information. And don't miss the sizzling hot deal on compact tractors. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/31/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump calls his indictment by the Biden Justice Department a heinous abuse of power.
More importantly, it's a political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or a communist nation.
Mr. Trump remains defiant after pleading not guilty to federal criminal charges in connection with his handling of sensitive documents.
After becoming the first former president to be arrested and arraigned on federal charges, Trump flew from Florida to New Jersey, where he denounced the legal action as politically motivated.
This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election.
No limits were placed on Trump's travel, which allows him to continue campaigning. However, the judge instructed the former president not to discuss the facts of the case with his co-defendant or any witnesses.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston, strains of Happy Birthday heard at last night's New Jersey rally. Today, June 14th, 77 candles on Mr. Trump's birthday cake. With so much of what we buy shipped by truck, Transportation Secretary Buttigieg says the price of almost everything will likely rise because of the closure of a stretch of I-95 in Philadelphia. He says the feds will do all they can to help the state of Pennsylvania deal with the situation.
There's no question in my mind that all of the resources that PennDOT needs federally will be available. We've already made clear that they're available ever since the governor's disaster declaration made it possible.
The audio from WPVI TV. The Federal Reserve may be about to take a pass on raising interest rates again. We'll find out later today when Fed policymakers wrap up their latest two-day meeting. Before enacting another rate hike, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and other top officials indicate they want to assess the extent to which a pullback in bank lending might be weakening the economy. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 33 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it when we say dogs are part of our family, and there's nothing like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens, R-U-F-F, because we want them to feel healthy and be with us as long as possible. I know Charlie Kirk feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. I rely on my trusted furry friend, Mr. Briggs, who's an absolute machine, and he relies on me to provide what's best for him. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens, not a dog food, but a supplement full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that Mr. Briggs absolutely needs and loves. Trying Rough Greens for your dog just makes sense.
Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here. I'm honored that the Pragers and Charlie trust their dog's health to Rough Green. I'm so confident that Rough Green can help your dog too that I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, dog food is dead food, but it doesn't have to be. Go to RUFF Greens.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid 60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What happens next?
If the Speaker of the House of Representatives has no communication with the FBI, then I don't know which members of Congress they're communicating with.
Happens right here.
There's no reason for them not to work with us on this investigation.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, how's this way to start a show? Pride or perverts?
Oh. Is that on tonight at 8/7 Central?
on Cinemax. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, can I say that on the air? Can I say pride or perverts?
Yes.
I can say pride or perverts?
You are allowed.
Okay, I can say that?
I will allow it.
Then I'll go ahead and say it.
Okay.
All right, so 2 mentally ill celebrants embarrassed the nation by going topless at the White House. That's culture, right?
Yeah.
How dare we question their culture, right?
Yeah, we're returning dignity to the White House.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I saw the video the day after this Pride event happened, and I'm like, just rolled my eyes. I'm like, that's really embarrassing, but I didn't really want to dwell on it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's actually gotten to the point where the White House has had to talk about this, so we'll get to that in just a second. All right, protecting the public or kneecapping police when the suspect runs, okay? At 6:20. I've got the update on the conversation about police chases in the metro area because there was a town hall event on that last night. And at least one police leader was pushing back against the NAACP, at least a little bit on this. So we'll get the update on that in just a bit.
Don't yawn. It's
Sorry,
too early.
I'm sorry.
Man.
My coffee's still on the machine. I'm running on fumes here.
Okay.
I'm running on yesterday's caffeine.
Oh my goodness. All right. Not much to say about the Trump federal arraignment in Miami. It was generally just procedural. I mean, there really weren't a lot of fireworks. Just kind of some wonky legalese stuff. Normally, they set a date for when all the evidence has to be turned over to the court and to the other side, and the judge is still figuring out, because we're talking about a massive volume of evidence on both sides, and so they haven't really set that. And as far as I could tell, they have not set a hearing or a trial date at this point. So it really was a lot of not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, please.
Legalese, procedural, kind of boring stuff.
Which honestly is probably the best case scenario in this case. The protesters, pro and con, kind of stayed in their lane. There was no big violence. So it was an historic day. I'm not gonna discount that, but it was a fairly uneventful day, at least when it comes to the legal proceedings and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much. There's not that much to talk about right now, basically. Right. Besides that, it happened.
There was more going on at the coffee house where he stopped afterwards.
Yeah,
because did he like buy drinks for everybody?
He did.
Buy coffee for everybody.
He said food for everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess it was muffins and coffee
Nice.
for everybody. That was fine.
Hey,
I'd take him up on that.
That's a party right
Absolutely.
there.
Especially if it's a good coffee shop, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, right after the arraignment, he went to New Jersey to appear at a campaign event, and he went after the special counsel, the special prosecutor.
The prosecutor in the case, I will call it our case, is a thug. I've named him Deranged Jack Smith. I wonder what his name used to be. Jack Smith. It sounds so innocent, doesn't it? Jack Smith. What's his name? Jack Smith. He's a very nice man.
Yeah, so there you go. The prosecutor now gets his own Trump name.
And so it begins. That's pretty much par for the course.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So Smith didn't really have any comments on that.
No, of course
not. Other than basically, we're going to go through the trial, we're going to go through the process, and we'll see how it goes. And I just don't know what timetable that's going to be on this.
Yep.
But I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. From Trump's perspective, I imagine they want to get this trial underway as quickly as possible.
Oh, gosh,
I would think.
Oh, yeah. You got to get it out of the way. You got to kind of clear the weeds here, especially because there are more indictments from other venues coming, aren't there?
There might be some in Georgia.
Yeah.
We'll see. And obviously there's a civil lawsuit in New York, and then there's the criminal arraignment in New York State as well. And so there's a lot of this. But for this one right here, because this is kind of the big one.
Yeah.
If you're the Trump team, you say, hey, let's go to trial tomorrow.
Yeah. It's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You want to fight? Let's go.
Let's go right now.
Yeah.
Don't drag it out.
Take off your jacket.
Yeah. And so, but I imagine that the DOJ, the federal government, is probably going to want to drag this out as long as they possibly can. But
absolutely.
If I'm Trump's attorneys, man, I'm pushing to do this thing right away. So we don't have another date. Like I said, we just don't know what's next. All right, get this. Did you see this video, Gabe, about, of course, what was it? Was it over the weekend or was it Monday that there was this Pride celebration at the White House?
Oh, yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about the flag aspect of that just a little bit later on.
Yeah, I touched on it yesterday. But
You did, because there's now responses to that as well. So I saw this video, and these two people, one is a woman who's trying to look and act and live like a man, and then a man who is trying to, live like a woman and all this kind of stuff.
Both of them have had top surgery, we'll say.
Yes.
As they say.
And that's important to the story. And so it's one of these TikTok videos that ended up going everywhere. And the dude who's trying to look like a woman, dude who looks like a lady, and from a distance, you'd be forgiven for making the mistake, until you get closer.
Oh yeah.
So he shows like the camera walking in, and there's the guy from the Navy in the dress white. It's like, welcome to the White House, showing him in, and then they show, they have a video of Joe Biden, doing his pro-Pride speech, and then this guy gets actually a kind of a selfie with the president. I think the president actually shot the selfie, which he was really bad at it.
Oh, of course.
He was trying to pose for the selfie, the president was, but he didn't realize that he had it on video.
Oh,
setting.
Fun.
So it's just him staring weirdly into the camera, thinking he's posing for a photo. But then here's what happened: is these two weirdos decide to shoot a short
video clip, and so they're in front of the White House, where and I learned this week. There is the pride flag, and then there is the Progress Pride flag.
Yeah, that's the one with the
little
V. Yeah,
thing, V
V
thing
for victory
on the left side.
Right. Correct. I mean, yes. Correct. Left.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. When it's oriented.
Right.
On a flag.
Yes. Correct.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to get confusing there. So they're standing in front of the White House, with the portico there, the columns, and the pride flag is right there in the middle, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. The U.S. flag's on your side, and both of these freaks go topless.
Right.
On the White House lawn.
Yes.
So the guy who has had, like you said, he's had a boob job, so he's got fake.
He's got the bolt-ons.
He's got him, and he drops his top and does the hand bra thing,
right,
and starts jiggling his fake boobs.
Yes.
And then the woman who
trying to
is
juggle silicone,
right, juggling the silicone, and then the woman who has had a double mastectomy drops her top and is jumping up and down celebrating. So you have two
with the gigantic scars. Like,
yeah, exactly. It is just gross. So both of these people are jumping up and down and celebrating, and this isn't on Pennsylvania Avenue,
right,
on the other side of the fence. This is on the White House lawn, right in front of the White House.
Yeah, the people's house.
Yes, jumping up and down topless as part of a pride celebration.
Yeah, because they're proud.
Yes,
that's how that works.
So Karina Jean-Pierre finally had to address this because she was getting asked once this video was kind of making the rounds. And a lot of people, and not just the conservatives, but the hardcore liberals, of course, they think this is great because you generally, the farther left you go, the more you have to abandon any sort of morals and ethics. But she was actually asked about this.
It was unfair to the hundreds of attendees who were there to celebrate their families. So, we're going to continue to be clear on that. And that type of behavior is, as I said, unacceptable. It's not appropriate. It's disrespectful.
And she added that those two so-called influencers are not going to be invited back to the White House.
Now, wait a minute. So, Karine Jean-Pierre, who has definitely, come out in defense of, family-friendly drag shows and all of these things, has now decided that because families were present on the day, that it was inappropriate for them to do that kind of thing and expose themselves, right?
I think she's just back.
It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Isn't that what we've been saying the whole time? It's like, hey, that's inappropriate. There are kids around here. And she's like, no, you're just being a bigot. But now
it's unacceptable.
Now it's unacceptable.
Well, even for a Biden White House, that had to be embarrassing.
Well, I'm glad.
Now, my understanding, and 314-912-1019, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is that I'm going to try to say this as carefully as I can here, okay, is that things like that are more common in LGBT culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Than in the rest of society.
It's something you would see in Soulard as opposed to on the White House lawn.
Okay.
Where decorum is out the window.
Yeah.
At certain times, and I'm not trying to throw dispersions on or whatever on Soulard, but
two of my favorite sports bars are there. Sports bars and grills there out there.
I've lived around there for 53 years in South City, so I just find the whole thing not just unacceptable, but there's no decorum left.
Right.
You're doing it on the White House lawn. We go back to what Obama did after the gay stuff was passed legislatively. He lights up the White House with all the
rainbow colors.
The rainbow colors, and it's been downhill from there.
Well, I'll say this. Every video I've seen from a quote-unquote pride event has basically gone the same way. So if you're the White House and you have a pride event, why wouldn't you expect this?
That's a good point.
Right?
Well.
I mean, the pride parades in San Francisco, the pride parades in New York, the pride runs, that they had marathons. We've got all this evidence that says this is the type of behavior you get when you put on one of these events. Why wouldn't you expect it?
See, the weird thing is that when you look at the activism that's happened, you can go back to, Stonewall. I mean, if you want, back in 69 or whatever that was.
Yep.
It's at some point your activism say this was the stated goal, we got it, be happy with that. And now what's happened is there's a backlash because that video with that guy, the guy, with the boob job and everything, and then the woman with the mastectomy, with them doing that, I think it was either a reminder or telling many people who normally would say, just leave him alone. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
Sure.
I think a lot of people were saying, wait a minute, is that what y'all do? Is this the mindset?
Yeah. It's funny, too, because, in the same period in the 60s when, we had civil rights protests and things like that, one of the main emphasis was that you were supposed to come dressed to the nines, with your Sunday best. You're supposed to be as respectful as possible because the point was to show America that we're just like you and we're being put upon. But what the pride people want to do is they say, we are the weirdest people you will ever see. Deal with it.
And you will accept it.
And you'll clap now. Please clap.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't mean to cast dispersions. I meant aspersions.
Yeah, aspersion. Yeah.
Not dispersions.
Okay, so you just convinced me, Gabe. I'm going to keep my shirt on the rest of the
Yeah, please. I mean, some decorum, sir.
That's right. All right, 314-912-1019. All right, St. Louis City, St. Louis County, NAACP, still trying to put pressure on police departments all over St. Louis. Stop with the police chases. Do they have a point? We'll talk about that right around 6:21 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hi, Jen Wallner here. As a former foster child myself, I have always been an advocate for foster children in our community. Angels Arms is an amazing organization that provides a stable, nurturing, and loving family environment for these children. They ensure these children have not only the childhood they deserve, but the resources needed to become successful, thriving adults. I truly believe that this organization is transforming lives, and I could not be more proud to be a small part of that accomplishment. For more information or to get involved, visit angelsarms.org.
Home is where the heart is, but it's also where the money is too. If you want to make the most of your home, whether you're buying, selling, or staying put, tune into HomeWise, the financial talk show that gives you the real deal on home ownership. HomeWise tells you the secrets that banks, realtors, and contractors don't want you to know, and shows you how to save thousands of dollars on your mortgage, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. HomeWise, how to get the most out of every dollar you put into your home. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s New Country streaming now.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. These days, it seems like we're being lied to at virtually every turn by the media, the government, experts. It leads to confusion and distrust among the general public, of our institutions, and of one another. People no longer sport merely differing viewpoints. Often we're operating with two wholly different sets of facts. We're not just debating, we're speaking a different language, even while using the same words. Right or left, we exist primarily in information silos. We've balkanized and are becoming further dug in with each passing day. I do try to make a point to seek out information and viewpoints from the other side, often while squinting with gritted teeth. And I invite questions and conversation from left of center folk regarding my own views, because I don't think the increasing tribalization leads to any place good. But it's rarely fruitful. Rather, it's frustrating and disheartening. In the 90s, the X-Files brought us the popular tagline, "The truth is out there." A quarter century later, our tune has shifted to, "The truth is in here. It's my truth or his or her truth." As if truth were as individualized as a monogram or fingerprint rather than an external, objective, verifiable fixed point. But it's important to remember there is a fixed point, a cornerstone, a firm foundation on which to stand. Recall who is the way, the truth, and the life. That is where we should anchor. The truth is the truth.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
Okay, I'm not meaning this as a snarky question. A true, honest question.
Legitimate.
Here. Yeah. Who is the NAACP trying to protect right now in St. Louis? And this is not.
That's a good question.
Yeah, this is not a targeted question. I'm not going after them. Are they trying to protect the public like they say? Are they trying to protect the police? Are they trying to protect criminal suspects? And I don't mean that in a smart-ass way. I mean, that's not a snarky question. So they're amping up their effort to end police chases in St. Louis. Update for you here in about 30 seconds. All right, did the Biden White House disrespect the flag and disrespect the nation at the recent Pride celebration? We're going to talk about that at 6:35 on this Flag Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Flag Day, isn't it?
We'll get that. Yeah, today's Flag Day. All right. By the way, send us your dad jokes, people.
Oh, yeah, we need more of those.
NewsTalkSTL.com. We're partnering with Blessed Jewelers for Father's Day. First of all, your dad joke could be read on the air. Secondly, it's going to be put up on the gallery on our website. Thirdly, we're going to pick one at random, and somebody's going to get a $500 gift certificate to Blessed Jewelers. So blessedjewelers.com. You cannot go wrong with that.
And fourthly, you're cutting it tight here because you only got a couple days left.
That's right. Yeah.
Get it in.
And I want your dad jokes.
Yes, absolutely. My goodness. Give me the funny.
Give me the dad jokes. All right. So there was a town hall meeting last night put on by the NAACP chapters of both the city and the county in St. Louis. Now, they've been on, because I mentioned this before, they're on a push to end police chases for the most part. End police chases around the city, saying it's just too dangerous. The bottom line is if a criminal suspect hits the gas and runs away, they don't want police to be able to chase them. And we have had cases where police chases have resulted in innocent people being hurt and even innocent people being killed. That has happened. And so their answer and what they're pushing for is to stop the police from chasing the bad guys or the suspected bad guys when they run away.
Yeah, and this is it feels very much like a trying to address a symptom of the larger issue rather than the problem. And of course, what that type of thinking tends to do is make the problem worse.
Yeah, expand on that. So answer, I mean, if the NAACP is here, why do they need to hear that?
Because the thing is, yes, police chases can be very dangerous. Police chases can result in problems. But the thing is, a police chase, being chased and more importantly, being caught is part of the deterrent effect of having a police force to begin with. So if you remove an aspect of the deterrent force, you're just going to get more of the crimes that create the situations that would have resulted in chases in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, the suspects are often, as we know in St. Louis, and this isn't, I'm not stereotyping, we know this from what police tell us and what the tells us is that they're often in stolen cars anyway to commit other crimes. So it's not like they can say, well, I got the license plate, we'll go find him.
Right.
That's not how that works. So St. Louis County Police Chief Kenneth Gregory was at this town hall meeting, and he's quoted as saying by KMOV, "There's no way to do our job without the idea of pursuit. As I said from day one, it's an evil part of the job that we have to do." He went on to say, we don't pursue speeders. We don't pursue traffic violations. We don't even pursue for stolen vehicles. But if there's a felony that's been committed, our officers are authorized to pursue that vehicle. I thought stolen vehicles was a felony, but, that seems to me to be a case to pursue. So he's arguing that they don't pursue for everything, which is reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that. I mean, somebody rolls through a stoplight. Do you want to start an 80 mile an hour, police chase, or whatever the case is, expired tag or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
But the NAACP is suggesting, using, for instance, the flock cameras to just track people, just surveil Orwellian, keep track of the cameras, and then you can find them that way without doing the police chase. I don't think it's that simple. And then the police chief was also saying, listen, we're working on an app to where if you download it, you can get alerted that there's a police chase in your area. So if it's within 2 miles, you'll get an alert, so you'll know to, hey, watch out or pull over or something like that.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of a neat sounding system. That may work better to make the streets a little safer during those events, as opposed to simply eliminating them altogether. It's very much a baby with the bathwater sort of situation to me.
Yeah. And for instance, one of the people who was speaking there last night, Ken Batzel, his son was killed when a police chase ended up striking the son. And the suspect was wanted on like he didn't show up. He had like a parole or a bond violation. It was an outstanding bond. And so he says he wants somebody held accountable for it. But the implication that I got was they want the police held accountable for it because they did the chase. Well, what about the guy who was running from the police and didn't pull over?
Yeah.
That's who should be accountable for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so weird. It's such a weird flex to say we have problems in society and it's the fault of the people who are there to protect us from the bad people in society.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So they are going to have the NAACP chapters. They say that they're going to issue another report in the coming months, providing alternatives and basically continuing to demand that police departments do not chase in the city. On the Rumble chat box, Jay Monty just said it's called enabling bad behavior.
Yes, enabling.
Yeah.
That's the proper term.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Another just the last couple minutes here before the next information segment, guys. In Kentucky, this is interesting. Tell me what you think about this, Gabe. It's Dell. A new law in Kentucky has been signed in by the governor, Andy Beshear, and it's called Melanie's Law. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
Okay. So Melanie's mother was, let's see here, Melanie's mother, Diana. So Melanie Hull's mother, Diana Yates, said the daughter, meaning Melanie, was killed when she was hit by a drunk driver or a driver under the influence.
Okay.
So now this law in Kentucky says if you kill somebody who is a parent of a minor, you're now responsible for child support.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Approve.
What's your gut reaction, Stel?
I agree with Gabe.
Here we go again.
Let's go.
Yeah. So Melanie Hull's son Nolan had just turned 7 at the time that his mother was killed by an impaired driver.
Yeah. Now, I think you can kind of compare it to when you put somebody in the hospital and the lawyer sues them civilly for lost wages and things like that. It makes sense. I mean, you've destroyed somebody's support system, so now you have to make recompense.
And
that makes sense to me.
I do need to correct something. I read it wrong. The daughter's now totally disabled, so she did survive it. But if you kill or incapacitate somebody, because the law also addresses if you kill somebody, then you are on the hook for as long as a normal child support would be, as if you.
As if they were your kid.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. So the law now makes DUI drivers financially responsible for the children of the people they kill or disable. This is the first such law in the country. Should Missouri consider something like that?
Yes. I like laws that do the whole maximum freedom, maximum responsibility thing. So this sounds like a maximum responsibility thing for your ability to consume alcohol and make decisions about your transportation.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Yep, there you go. All right, just ahead here. Did the White House disrespect the flag at the Pride event? The fact checkers say no.
Oh, do they?
Yes, I will tell you why
really?
on this. And by the way, speaking of Jay Monty, he sent us a dad joke. You guys want to hear it real quick?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
All right, where do pirates buy their hooks?
Where?
At the secondhand store.
Oh!
There it is. Keep them coming, people.
We'll be here all morning.
All right, 6:34 is when we ask the question, did the Biden White House break the flag protocol and disrespect the flag and disrespect the country at the Pride event? Both sides of the argument. Tell me what you think just ahead, right around 6:34 on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
And
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday, hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend, with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michaels Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michaels, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hey everybody, it's Paul Kurtman. Make sure you join me every Saturday from 12 to 1 here on News Talk STL for the Paul Kurtman Show. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
We actually talked about this earlier in the week when that Pride event happened at the White House, and I actually ignored it for the most part. You know what? You have a liberal in the White House. They're going to
do liberal things.
They're going to do liberal things. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to freak out over every single Pride thing that happens. But we did point out that saying there's actually a code regarding the way that the U.S. flag is displayed. So it's Flag Day. And just for my leftist friends out there who may be listening, Flag Day is about the United States flag.
Right.
Just
right.
so you know.
Yeah, FYI.
It doesn't honor any of the Pride flags.
Right. It happens to be in June, but it kind of predates all of this stuff.
Yes.
But, I get it. I get why you'd be confused.
Just to be clear.
by about 250 years. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just a little bit.
By the way, speaking of Flag Day, Vic Porcelli is going to be broadcasting his show from the VFW Hall in Overland Park today from 9 to 11. I guess they got a big breakfast going on out there today. So you can run out, say hi to Vic. And I know they're going to be out there a little bit early, so if you want to go get some breakfast and say hi, you can do that even before the show. But they're going to be in Overland from 9 to 11 today.
You did a Kansas City thing there. You said Overland Park.
Did I say Overland Park?
Yeah.
Overland. Overland Park is in Kansas. Oh, whoops. Man, I can't believe I did that. So, yes, the VFW Hall in Overland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. No, I was just back in Kansas City.
You had a flashback.
Helping my mom and the hospital she had her knee replacement surgery at in Overland Park. So I had Overland Park on the mind. So Vic's going to be out there from 9 to 11. All right, didn't take very long for complaints to come in regarding the White House's Pride celebration event there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, part of that is going to be, just conservatives complaining because the Biden administration does a Pride thing. But again, you elect a leftist, you get leftist things. That's just the way that it goes.
Yep.
But one of the bigger complaints, did the administration disrespect the U.S. flag with how it was displayed? Don't worry, the fact checkers have weighed in on this.
Here come the fact checkers.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay, so here's the situation, and I think we actually mentioned this on Monday or Tuesday, and it was around the columns there at the White House. What I now know is called the Progress Pride flag. I didn't know it actually had a name, but that's the Pride flag with the triangle,
the extra
thing.
stuff.
So all the extra stuff in there. That was displayed and hung in the middle, and then American flags on the side of each of it.
Mm-hmm.
And some members of Congress, a number of people in groups that specialize in dealing with the flag and the flag code, they said that's actually against the code.
Right.
It's not the law, but it's the code that the expected and the accepted way of displaying the U.S. flag. The U.S. flag should always be above other flags. When there are multiple ones, it's supposed to be in the middle,
yes,
etc. So Karina Jean-Pierre asked about that, which I'm going to give whatever the reporter was. It could have been a conservative, I don't know, who asked her about that. But they're being accused of violating the U.S. flag code for displaying that flag the way that they did. So Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre responded as such.
The administration was proud, again, to display the Pride flag. It was a historic event at the White House. It's centered around love and family, and I think that's important. And so, we're not going to let anyone distract us from that.
What?
Golly.
It was about love.
Language.
It's love and
Stell.
pride.
Goodness. but deflecting away from the question.
Yeah, this was poppycock and skullduggery of the highest order.
Stell is a bad influence on me. But you notice the distraction.
Yes. Oh,
And
yeah.
So I looked up Channel 5 KSDK's fact checker. They use this service called Verify something or other.
Okay.
And so they posted. They're like, no, they did not violate the code.
It sounds like one of these actually
Yes,
people.
yes.
And they got a title, and now they charge people money for it.
So here's their argument. Tell me what you think. Because
Okay.
veterans groups and others are saying, hey, here's the code. You don't do it like that.
Yeah.
They say, well, there is a flagpole on top of the White House that has a U.S. flag. So therefore, there actually was an American flag above the others because there's a flagpole on top of the White House.
I suspected that's where they were going to go with that.
That's
yep.
Codswallop. That's what that is. It's Codswallop.
That's a new one.
Yeah, I'm working on them. No, seriously. I mean, it's really it's a cope. That's what it is. It's a cope for the fact that when you view the flags, when you view displays of the flag, it's that display is what the flag code is discussing, not all of the flags in the vicinity of that flag. It doesn't make any sense if you put it that way, because then you can say, well, my flag display here on the ground can be anything, any configuration, even the color guards who come in with the flag, they can have the flags in any configuration they want, so long as you have a big flagpole that with the flag way up high. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how that works.
Right. And a color guard, when they come in, you notice that when they stop at wherever it is, the other flags are lowered.
They dip.
They dip it.
They genuflect essentially to the U.S. flag.
Right. Now, but again, nobody's breaking the law. The Biden administration did not break the law.
It's not law
on this.
It's a code.
And the U.S. flag, it is a piece of cloth But what that represents used to be something that everybody could unite around, especially in times of tragedy or in times of crisis or in times of celebration. And the Biden administration just did not think through this. And understand that whoever was putting together the Pride celebration on the White House likely were not deep policy thinkers. What you had were leftist extremists who, like, we get to show the world, how gay we are, or whatever their mindset is.
Yeah.
And so there were multiple flags up there, and they did it the wrong way because they don't give a crap what the actual code is.
They don't care.
But the code's not supposed to be about a conservative or liberal, and veterans groups and some members of Congress who simply said, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. If they had actually flipped it and had the U.S. flag in the middle
and then 2 pride flags on either side, that's actually according to code.
That would have actually been compliant with the code, and then you're just simply debating whether or not, we should say they shouldn't be having them gays at the White House, which
to begin with.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be talking about it on the air because it wouldn't even register with me to waste my time with it. But the controversy is, did they disrespect the flag of the country the way that they did it?
And I think they absolutely did. And here's the thing: you can't really plead ignorance about understanding the importance of symbols, especially if we're talking about symbols like flags. That's why there is a pride flag. That's why they keep changing the pride flag, because of the things that it symbolizes, the things that it represents. That's why the pride flag keeps flying everywhere. That's why everybody changes all their dang colors. Is that everybody's understands the importance of these symbols in reflecting what you deem important to the world, what you deem important for all of us to unite around, right? So here's the thing. If you're going to reduce the importance of the American flag, the one that's supposed to unite everybody who claims citizenship here, to some other flag, which we're all a little bit trepidatious about, you're making a statement by doing so.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 doors down from me. His neighbor's got a pride flag. Well, I mean, he's a public figure.
Sure.
You remember Court Van Ostrand, who ran against Ann Wagner?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he and his boyfriend moved in a couple doors down from us. So they've got the big pride flag out, and people, you're right, people use flags to demonstrate and say things. I mean, how many times you drive around and you see, a Cardinals flag or a Blues flag.
Right.
I've even seen a few Battlehawks flags.
Yeah.
Around. Those are statements, but with the United States flag, you've got a whole different tradition. And so I think what's happened with a lot of people, yes, conservatives in particular, but I even think many others who are kind of raising their eyebrows saying, you're dealing with 100, 200 years of tradition, and this is one of the symbols that is used as a foundation for not necessarily U.S. culture, but for U.S. unity.
I'll say U.S. culture. I
Maybe.
mean, unity as a cultural idea is part of who we are. E pluribus unum is supposed to be our whole mantra, right? Out of many, one, right? The United States. We're all independent entities who've all decided to come together. And that's kind of the ethos of America itself. And the flag is supposed to represent that ethos to which we're all supposed to pledge our loyalty. That's the whole idea of pledges. We pledge our loyalty not to the nation, but to the ethos of E pluribus unum. And that's what the flag's supposed to represent. If you remove its importance to our culture, you remove the importance of the message that it represents.
So you've got either another unforced error by the Biden administration, or you've got something very telling, because on the hard left, I think there are people who value and revere that pride flag more than they do the flag of the United States. Because how many times have we heard somebody on the left say, that's a flag for white supremacy?
Oh, absolutely. I think so many times they've referred to the U.S. flag as representing something else. Go back to that the valedictorian at the
City University
of New York Law School, who was talking about what America to her represents essentially, which is destruction.
Yeah, she's a peach.
Yeah, exactly. But her values, her way of looking at America is not unique, and a lot of people see the American flag as representing that. But of course, the pride flag represents this new, a sex-obsessed religion. I mean, this new.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This new idea of pride, which we're all supposed to get behind, and they're they're pushing it as hard as they can.
I wouldn't have objected if they had used bunting instead. This was my first thought when I saw the photo. I thought, okay, why didn't you put bunting on both sides with the American flag in the middle? I would have been okay with that. I wouldn't have balked at it initially and said, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. The bunting, I think, would have looked okay with the U.S. flag in the middle.
Actually, you don't have to put because it's bunting, because it's just representing the colors. It's not actually the flag. You could just alternate. Red, white, and blue, and then the rainbow bunting, and you could just alternate those all along, and that would have been an appropriate decoration for this activity. I don't think the activity is appropriate, but you get what I'm saying.
Right, precisely. All right, 314-912-1019. All right, just ahead here, Father's Day is coming up. Can you believe that there's some people who say we guys are hard to shop for?
What?
God, what?
Everybody knows what I want. I mean, it's just really expensive.
I'll give you the list. We've got that coming up right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Also, I've actually brought in my wife's Father's Day gift for me. If you want to be watching on the streaming here on Rumble or Facebook or YouTube right now, because she's very creative.
We'll put it that way.
All right. That's coming your way here around 6:50 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Colombo here, reminding you that cybersecurity has never been more important, so you need to ask yourself, is your business prepared for a possible ransomware attack? And if you have any doubt, you need to call the team at ThrottleNet today. ThrottleNet provides world-class managed IT services and IT support to many local organizations, including my family's own small business. They're St. Louis's highest rated and most reviewed outsourced IT company, and there's many different ways ThrottleNet can help with your business's operation and digital protection. Learn more now at throttlenet.com.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. STL FenceWorks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL FenceWorks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL FenceWorks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL FenceWorks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL FenceWorks is maintenance-free decking. STL FenceWorks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL FenceWorks make your outdoor space magical. Visit STLFenceWorks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res. The team at Zero Res has rescued our home many times over the years, and right now they have an amazing summer offer you don't want to miss. Book a cleaning now for your home or business, and you'll get 20% off all services. Just mention the Colombo special, and whether it's carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, or air ducts, you'll get their best in the business cleaning for 20% off. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forwards or backwards, it spells the same, Zero Res.
You get the point with this? Like, they've done this before?
Bongino.
We had the IRS targeting case where they actually admitted to it. I love when lefties try to pretend that didn't happen. The targeting in the Tea Party and conservative groups.
Weekdays at 11 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
I'm going to call unfairness on this one here.
Okay.
Can you believe some women say that we're hard to shop for when it comes to Father's Day?
It's so simple, though.
Come on.
I mean, it's just they put all of our stuff out front around now, don't they? You know, it's like just get it. I mean, I know it's expensive, but I mean, you know.
You see, I'm one of those. I'm like, I just don't care about Father's Day.
There's also that.
Yeah. All right, News Talk STL. You want to hear the interviews, the conversations, hear the shows on demand? Just subscribe to our podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast. And the great thing is you got a bunch of choices. You want to listen to our show or Vic's show or Katie and Columbo's show or Chris and Tim or Larry or anybody, just go ahead and subscribe, and you can listen to that anytime you want. But also the individual segments, especially the interviews that we have, big interviews that we have. For instance, Shane Scholler, Republican candidate for Secretary of State, going to be with us at 7:35. You want to hear that again? You like what he had to say? You're going to send it to others? Real easy to do. Just subscribe. Anywhere.
And speaking of discussions, because we had the one on the flag at the White House, Ray, a listener on Facebook, said, if you've got a White House that doesn't believe in the Constitution, why would you expect them to honor flag decorum?
That is an excellent point.
Well put.
Who was it you said posted that?
Ray.
Ray, yeah, Ray, great point.
Thanks, Ray.
Great point. All right. Okay, so there's a survey, and this is from the website Express. Father's Day is Sunday, and 38% of people say their dad is the hardest person to shop for.
38%.
Now, more than that say dads are hard to shop for. Just 38% say we're the hardest to shop for. So when it comes to what dads want, and it's kind of funny because it's written kind of confusing because apparently there were a lot of dads who are like, I don't care about your survey.
No kidding.
Yeah, imagine that.
What?
Okay, so here's their list of the top 10 things that they say that dads want for Father's Day. So tell me whether you think this is accurate or not.
By the survey of the men who bothered to answer the stupid thing.
This is a report listed 10 things that dads supposedly really want for Father's Day.
There you go. That's the proper way of saying it.
Right. Number 10 was swag from your favorite sports team.
Okay, I'll give him that.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I guess,
why not?
That's the ball cap or something. You know, I guess
I could go for some new Battlehawks gear.
I would have put that maybe a little bit higher, but go ahead.
Yeah, they have it at number 10. Number 9, an all-inclusive vacation.
I think that's just asking for something outrageous.
Yeah.
So they'll leave you alone.
That's a good thought.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Number 8, anything to do with tech. Get me a gadget, basically.
Yes.
I guess that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay, I question this one. Number 7, aftershave. Is aftershave is that still a thing?
No.
Maybe I'm asking because I have a beard now. But
I've never really used aftershave.
Yeah, I don't know a single dude that's like, you know what? We're in the locker room after a workout. It's like, man, I really wish the women in my life would get me aftershave. I don't hear that.
No, it sounds weird. And also, I don't want you picking out how I'm going to smell.
See, honestly, I would defer that to my wife, though.
Well,
she's the one.
Yeah, she's the only one who gets to choose. But anybody else, like my kids, like, do you want your kids picking out how you're going to
Here,
smell?
Daddy, I got you new aftershave. It's Ode of
White Castle.
SpongeBob.
Ode to SpongeBob.
Ode to SpongeBob.
All right, number 6, tickets to a game. Okay.
Yep.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah, I get that.
Absolutely.
Number 5, craft beer.
Eh.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy wants beer, he's just going to stop.
He's
going to
get beer. Yeah,
I don't.
Not
know
a
about
top
that
10
one.
item.
No.
Books. Yeah, that's. I mean.
Well, yeah.
There's always a book that I want.
Mike the book whore.
Yeah. Yep.
That'd be top 3 for you.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. This one. Okay, this one. I think they're just wrong. I think this is more of a Mother's Day thing. And yes, I'm stereotyping.
Okay.
A well thought out day out.
Oh heck no.
That's a Mom's Day thing.
Well, I mean, okay. Actually, they're coming up with some cool ones now.
Yeah.
Like there's this one I heard where you get to like play ball on the field at Busch. You get to take a batting practice, something like that. That would be a well thought out day for certain people.
If somebody wants to get me a BP at Busch Stadium on the field, I'm in. I've got my baseball bats that are Major League Baseball regulation in my vehicle right now.
You can do it now.
I've got 3 of them in there. Number 2 was wine.
No,
I don't buy that either.
No, not a connoisseur. Now, I'll take, okay, fine, get me some random alcohol thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what
wine.
But wine, I don't. Out of all the choices,
give me a Scotch, give me a bourbon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that, but wine? I mean, not that I dislike wine, but
it feels weird, and it's way up on the list. That's weird.
That's number 2. Number 1 is just the basic. This is what I tell my wife and my daughter. I'm like, take me out to eat if you want.
Okay,
that's fine.
I can eat.
So my daughter's got reservations somewhere on Sunday evening. I don't know where. That she'll spend probably more money than she should. But that's it. Now, how about the stuff that every dad really wants, though, but maybe we're not going to say?
Okay, everything I want requires power, either electricity, gasoline, or gunpowder.
I think there's there you go. How about this? How about this? This list says the next season of Yellowstone to hurry the F up and get released. I mean, that could be
one. Yeah, there you go. That's one big one. Yeah.
Anything from the clothes section at Costco.
Okay. Hey, that's cheap good
maybe.
Clothes. You're spending my money anyway.
Politically neutral beer.
Don't give me the tranny beer.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. The beer that does not make me gay. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Permission to display bowling trophies inside the house.
Okay,
to do that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Enough hair to have somebody run their fingers through. Oh my goodness. And more movies with Michael Keaton as Batman and Tom Cruise as Maverick. And, of course, then there's the classic, silence, leave me alone.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
iHelp is the immigrant home English learning program here in St. Louis that helps empower immigrant families by providing individualized, in-home English language education and tools for the effective navigation of our community. iHelp connects volunteer teachers with adult immigrant and refugee learners in our community to develop English and life skills. To learn more or to volunteer as a tutor, visit ihelpstl.org. That's ihelpstl.org.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man aged 45 non-smoker can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month. Level rate for 10 years. Or a man aged 50 non-smoker can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 800-786-9161. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-786-9161. Remember, 1-800-786-9161. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. His indictment by the Biden Justice Department seems to have energized Donald Trump's supporters. They turned out at a Miami eatery the other day after Mr. Trump left the federal courthouse, where he pleaded not guilty to 37 counts.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. God bless Donald Trump.
Later at a rally in New Jersey, Mr. Trump unloaded on the current occupant of the Oval Office and his henchmen.
Today we witnessed the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country. Very sad thing to watch. A corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges of which he and numerous other presidents would be guilty. Right in the middle of a presidential election, in which he is losing very badly.
This isn't the only legal challenge Mr. Trump faces. He says all of it amounts to political persecution aimed at keeping him from winning the White House in 2024. President Biden's chief spokeswoman has run afoul of a law that limits political activity by federal employees, but apparently there will be little, if any, consequences for her action.
The Office of Special Counsel announced this week that Karine Jean-Pierre violated the Hatch Act when she referred to MAGA Republicans. The watchdog says she made the disparaging remarks ahead of last year's midterm elections. Despite the violation, the spokeswoman will not face any discipline and will only receive a warning letter. She said White House lawyers would review the ruling. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Secretary of State Blinken has spoken with the Chinese foreign minister ahead of a possible visit to China by America's top diplomat. Blinken reportedly planning a trip to China this week. On Wall Street, the Dow futures down 84 points. NASDAQ futures 21 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it when we say dogs are part of our family, and there's nothing like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens, RUFF, because we want them to feel healthy and be with us as long as possible. I know Charlie Kirk feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. I rely on my trusted furry friend, Mr. Briggs, who's an absolute machine, and he relies on me to provide what's best for him. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens, not a dog food, but a supplement full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that Mr. Briggs absolutely needs and loves. Trying Rough Greens for your dog just makes sense.
Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here. I'm honored that the Pragers and Charlie trust their dog's health to Rough Green. I'm so confident that Rough Green can help your dog too that I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, dog food is dead food, but it doesn't have to be. Go to ruffgreens.com.
55. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
I am here with Dr. Howard Wall. And Howard, we know that education needs to get better in this country. I'm hearing a lot about school choice and competition in schools. Can that actually help?
Well, imagine if supermarkets were organized like public schools. Money would go straight from the government to your assigned store, and they would choose your food for you and provide you with the same bag that everybody else gets. The bags at some very rich supermarkets might be full of gourmet food, but, a lot of us would end up with bags of government mac and cheese. If we wouldn't be happy with the food from these imaginary supermarkets, it's no surprise that, we're unhappy with what we get from our actual school system.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
I know what I should have asked for Father's Day.
What's that?
A new coffee mug.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I keep bringing in coffee mugs, and then when I try to rush out of here to make room for Vic, I drop them and break them.
Oh.
How many coffee mugs have I broken here?
At least two.
At least two.
Yeah.
I had the one that looked like a grenade.
That was so awesome. I missed that one.
I know. I like that one. And then I had one that was a photograph of like an old 80s cassette tape stack.
Little
you
rack,
remember those racks we used to have that was all the hair metal bands? Ray just sent me a note on Facebook, and he said wine is perfectly okay regarding, gifts for Father's Day.
Well, I mean, it's okay,
It's
but
okay. I just,
it's just not on my list as like a top. It was number 2 on that list.
Right.
That's what kind of gave us like, really?
But he points out, he says it goes great with barbecue and steaks. And I wouldn't have thought wine to go with barbecue and steaks, but he says it goes. He says you can see a recommendation on the Wild Wine Life called Cabs for Dads. I'm assuming cabs means Cabernet in this case. Cabs for Dads. So if you look that up, and he says yes, there will be some bourbon recommendations in the future as well. By the way, I forgot to mention my wife got me a unique present. So if you're streaming this right now, if you're watching on streaming,
get on there.
And if you're on Rumble or Facebook or YouTube, I'm walking up to the house and she's sitting on the porch. She's like, "You want your present now?" Because my wife is leaving. Actually, I think she's on the way to Kansas City right now. She's going to help my mom for a few days after that knee surgery. And so she goes, "This, I'm going to think of her all the time when I have this." And she got me a pair of socks with her face all over the socks.
It's so cool.
It is so funny.
And of course, this is her looking at particularly professorial.
Yes.
And looking over her glasses, over top of her glasses.
Well,
it's awesome.
The story behind this is that she snapped that picture being funny.
Just a random.
Yeah, because she's got her reading glasses like down over her nose. My wife is a university professor. And, okay, so there it is. I don't know if this is how this is looking on camera. Do I have that centered up right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw that picture, and I texted her. I said, "You've got to make that your profile picture.
Right.
That's hysterical."
Yeah.
And so she did, and then she got a bunch of great comments on it. And so there it is, and now I can wear my socks with my wife's face on it. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's funny.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Next year's a T-shirt.
That's true. The top dog of beer is knocked off his spot. Bud Light, no longer the best-selling beer in America. We'll get to that in just a minute. This is interesting. Also, Donald Trump responds to yesterday's federal arraignment. We're going to update you on that at 7:20. There was some activity. It was not the explosive day that we thought it was going to be. Well, that we didn't know if it was going to be or not. It was very procedural, but I still have the update for you. Okay, the business numbers are in for May for the first time in a very, very, very long time. Bud Light was not the number one selling beer in the United States.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because every time we think, all right, well, we've seen the peak of this. You can call it a boycott. You can call it a market reaction. You can call it what you want. But we apparently have not seen the peak of this. Bud Light, we were pointing out how much they had lost. Mm-hmm. Upwards of 26% decline month over month in sales.
Right.
To the point where InBev, Anheuser-Busch, is subsidizing their distributors and their employees because so many people are canceling Bud Light.
Mm-hmm. And then there are salespeople who have basically had to walk away from Bud because they're not making any money. The commissions are slashed by way more than you could live on. So they had to move on.
Yeah. Modelo Especial was the number one selling beer in America, which surprised me that it was Modelo.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I never thought of Modelo as being that popular, but it became the number 2 selling beer in the country.
Modelo.
I'm sorry, Modelo. Yes, that's how much I pay attention to Modelo.
Yeah.
I don't drink Modelo.
I'm confused by that because I thought for sure it would be one of the other big brands that you think of, right, like Coors and stuff like that.
So in May, Bud Light sales dropped another 23%.
My goodness,
23%.
I imagine they got really hurt over Memorial Day in particular, too.
Yes.
I think that was a big one.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think maybe Cinco de Mayo sales helped Modelo?
Yes. I think you're right.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that.
That's a good point.
They were top 10 to start with. Mm-hmm. But I think that absolutely probably has something to do with it. But here's the thing and I looked at Business Insider for the story. I looked at Market Watch. I looked at the Wall Street Journal and the Business Insider one because listen, Business Insider it's a business and political coverage, but they're biased. Okay, they're not on our side.
No.
And I picked this one because of the way they wrote their headline. And this is, I think, indicative of what you're seeing in the media overall, because what's happening right now is media is going, wait a minute, this is a bigger cultural thing, and the people we don't like are winning. But they don't get it. It's not a matter of...
They still don't understand.
No, it's not a matter of winning or not winning, especially when you look at Target, because they're trying not to cover Target, who's losing about $1 billion a week.
That's wild to me.
Still.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to know much about their sales stuff, but we're talking market cap, right, at this point.
But listen to this headline. Bud Light lost its sales crown to Modelo Especial amid right-wing backlash, report finds. So that's why I picked it out, because it's not just about the beer. I mean, every week I could talk about how Bud Light sales are down since they decided to do that video with the dude who dresses up like a woman. But it's the right-wing backlash.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a right-wing backlash.
No,
there's
not entirely.
No, there's no organized conservative boycott of Bud Light. Millions of people in the country simply said, that's enough.
Yeah.
And they just quietly started buying something else. So if media wants to politicize it, or they want to try to find a way to basically tell the market, how dare you, you're wrong, which is really what they're doing. They're trying to tell people who aren't political, we're talking about the blue-collar union guy who is at the factory, and he just stops at the store on the way home and grabs a six-pack, and that guy around the country has said, eesh, I used to drink Budweiser or Bud Light, but I'll grab a Yuengling. Apparently, I'll grab a Modelo. I'll grab a Coors instead. Whatever. After the third one, they all taste the same anyway.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tell that guy, how dare you? You're now in the same group as these crazy extremist right-wing people.
Now, typically, when the left wants to label stuff, I tend to have a reflexive, move against that because it's dumb. I think we should embrace this one.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though, is that this isn't a political thing.
Well, it's not, but I think we should take it. I mean, no, hear me out. So they're saying, hey, this. If you are this type of person who hates Bud Light, you are a right-wing extremist. You just helped us out. You just said that in order to think this way about this particular issue, you are on the right wing. So a lot of people are not going to change their mind on it because, like, hey, I don't want to be associated with the right wing. They obviously would like less to be associated with whatever Bud Light's doing right now. So if that pushes them onto our side, if they are going to move the Overton window in our favor, we should let them.
Yeah, I'm having trouble believing that a lot of people are changing their votes along with changing their beer.
No, I don't think that's not the first thing that happens. The first thing that happens though is the societal move though. That's really what happens. 'Cause I think what's gonna go on is, as people are going to keep labeling things right wing, they're going to keep labeling things racist and white supremacists and all these other things, and then these people are going to, the people who are being labeled, the independents, the non-political people are going to look up and they're going to realize those people hate me. I'm not going to vote for them anymore. That's what I'm looking to see what happens. Like maybe it doesn't turn into a Republican vote, but it turns into a negative Democrat vote. Which I'm fine with.
Could be.
I'm fine with that.
And with this right here, I see so much of it as cultural, and Bud Light, first of all, doubled down and made a mistake, and now they backed off and they realize they can't go back.
No,
they put themselves in a no-win situation.
Absolutely.
And it should have been a warning to other corporations, and I think to some degree, it might have been. Well, every single Major League Baseball team dropped the Pride social media profile pictures quickly.
Other corporations are following suit.
Yeah. And so I think that they're realizing that what's happened here is there is a pushback culturally, and you're not going to shame tens of millions of people into getting back in line because we told you to think this way and to act this way before. And when something that was as much of a staple as Bud Light or Budweiser is now not even under attack, people just walked away.
Yeah, it's a power move to be able to walk away from anything.
Yes.
Like that's what it means in any negotiation. If you are capable of walking away, you've walked into that negotiation with all the power. So we're showing, at least the public, the general public is showing that, hey, let's remind you guys that we actually have power here, the power to walk away. We don't need you. And I think that should send a message. I think it has sent a message to a lot of folks in those C-suites.
I mean, if somebody buys a Yingling, you don't assume they're conservative.
No.
You don't assume they're libertarian. You don't assume they're Republican. Because, I mean, I had a bunch of friends who were singing the praises of this beer long before beer became political.
Yeah.
Now Garth Brooks is getting himself in trouble.
Yep, I saw that. It was like,
Did
oh,
you see
buddy.
this still?
No,
so
Garth Brooks?
Garth Brooks is opening up, I guess, a
bar.
honky-tonk bar somewhere. And somebody asked him, they said, are you going to stock Bud Light? And at first he said, yeah, I'm going to stock whatever beer somebody wants to buy, which is a fine answer.
Yeah, that's a fine answer.
And then he went on to say, if you're an a-hole who wants to boycott over a beer because of inclusion, then you can go somewhere else. And I'm like, Garth,
you did it.
All you had to do was say, yeah, I'm going to have it available. Buy it or buy another one. Doesn't matter to me. That's all you had to say.
Yep.
But he went on to basically say, if you're boycotting Bud Light, you're an a-hole.
Right, exactly. So I think the customer base he was going for may not like that.
I think sometimes even the country boys are around Hollywood a little too low.
A little too low.
All right, 314-912-1019. Donald Trump went through the federal indictment yesterday. As you may expect, he had something to say about it. So we'll get to that here in just a moment. 7:35. Shane Scholler, former state representative. He's also the Greene County clerk. He's the election authority in the largest county in Missouri. He wants to be the next Secretary of State. Got any questions for him? We'll talk about that in about 20 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
Hey, St. Louis, it's Dan Bongino. Proud to be part of the News Talk STL lineup.
Every weekday from 11 to 2, we'll get together to talk about what's going on.
News, analysis, opinion, and always some fun. Make an appointment to be with us every weekday beginning at 11 on News Talk STL.
Welcome home.
When summer gets hot, the savings are sizzling at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Right now, all customers get cash price discounts up to $3,000 with 0% financing on all John Deere compact tractor packages. This is your chance to add a hard-working, versatile tractor to your equipment lineup. Visit snpartners.com for more information. And don't miss the sizzling hot deal on compact tractors. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/31/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Dr. Robert Malone.
In my attempt to make sense out of this whole crazy, messed up, I can come up with a lot of words for messed up.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
CNN is my favorite.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Be really careful.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Mystic Fix is sponsored by Kama Flight, redefining the dance between the masculine and feminine. Kama Flight is a somatic movement practice merging yoga, meditation, and massage. Workshops in 2023 are at the Chosen Retreat Center in Sebastian, Florida. For more, visit Kama Flight on Instagram at KAMAFLIGHT.
Fox News commentary.
Facebook head honcho Mark Zuckerberg admits that the science establishment asked the platform to censor posts about COVID that ended up being debatable or true. Knock me over with a feather. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Who have been outspoken about COVID tyranny since week 3 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve, know darn good and well we were and likely still are censored on social media. But now we have more proof. In a podcast, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted that the science establishment asked him to censor a bunch of content on the platform that ended up being debatable or true. Zuckerberg went on to say that the waffling of the facts and narratives by the science establishment also hurt their credibility with the public. No duh. None of the censorship was about science or public safety. It was about control and protecting the COVID narrative. The acknowledgement of that by social media tycoons is great, but where is the accountability? And why are social media companies in the business of picking and choosing which narratives to elevate and which to silence? I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, what's next in the Donald Trump legal saga? Well, I'm not sure yet, but I've got the update on yesterday's proceedings. 7:22 right now. I'm Mike. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. By the way, Vic Porcelli broadcasting from the VFW in Overland today. That is from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, but he's going to be there a little bit earlier, and I guess they've got a breakfast there that you can go buy a breakfast and hang out.
Oh, man.
So go see Vic. Say hi. But from 9 to 11, the Vic Porcelli Show going to be live from the VFW, and that is for Flag Day.
That's awesome.
Yep.
It's a grand old flag.
I want to do live. I want to do this show live from different places.
Yes, we need to do
I know
that.
and my boss hates it when I say that. Jeff hates it because these things, especially for a morning show, are technical nightmares.
Yes.
To do.
Yes.
So I know he's like, shut up, Mike. Shut up.
Stop it.
No, it's easier when you do it in the midday or the afternoon. And it is.
Joey, you can get up early for us, right?
That's right. Hey, if I can get up at 2, he can. Okay, by the way, Republican candidate for Secretary of State. We're talking on the Missouri side here. Shane Scholler going to be with us at 7:35. So we'll talk to him. All right, the federal arraignment of Donald Trump, really pretty unspectacular.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on other than the fact that it absolutely was an historic day because it was the first time a former president was arraigned on federal criminal charges. And so it was very procedural. It looks like the whole thing took about 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The not guilty part was up really early in the thing. And then, of course, they had some negotiations with the lawyers. And there's somebody else who is charged that nobody cares about because their name's not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That they're trying to figure out the lawyer situation with them.
Yeah, one charge, right?
One charge, yeah. And it's a conspiracy charge.
Yeah.
And they are having questions as far as when the next deadlines are going to be because normally, apparently, in a case like this, that you get about 2 weeks to turn over your evidence.
Right.
Because both sides have to turn over evidence to the court and to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But given the nature of this case and the volume of evidence, the judge is saying, okay, we may give more time than that, but they have not set another date.
Right.
At this point. They'll do that at some point soon, I'm sure, at least for the next hearing or conference or something like that. There were no cameras allowed in the courtroom, so there are no pictures from inside the courtroom, which is pretty standard, actually, for a federal case.
I'm actually thankful for it because that would have made it even more of a fiasco than it already is.
Oh, the AI picture generators would have been working overtime.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, you know that Donald Trump is going to have statements on this. So right after the arraignment, he headed up to New Jersey and had some comments. He was doing a rally and a campaign event in New Jersey.
Hillary Clinton broke the law, and she didn't get indicted. Joe Biden broke the law, and in many other ways we're finding out, and so far has not gotten indicted. I did everything right, and they indicted me.
And that's pretty much what the what the speech was.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
was swinging back. I mean, he was punching back.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is what you would expect.
Yeah, as he should. And it also should be noted that I saw on a CNN broadcast, and I totally accidentally came across a CNN broadcast. I certainly do not look for these things. I actually try to actively avoid them. But they described it as him being arrested.
Yeah, no, which I've seen that. You're right. I've seen that. No, he wasn't.
No. Now, and I suppose there might be some technical definition of it, because when you surrender to authorities based on an indictment, is that technically an arrest? Or, I don't know.
No, well, he surrendered in New York.
Right.
He just appeared in Miami.
Yeah, it's so weird. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but really, this is all about the headlines. It's all about the things that they can say about the issue. The media is just eating it up right now.
Well, I will say this, though, that Donald Trump has actually said, they had, a former president arrested, and he was never arrested.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's
he's fed into that too.
He's using the hyperbole too. Yeah, that's true. Now, of course, the way things work in America right now, you can say the same thing and it means something completely different to either side. So in one hand, it's the people cheering, yeah, he's arrested. Oh my gosh, we're finally going to get him. And on the other side is like, do you see this bullcrap that's going on right now? We need to support this guy, send money.
Oh yeah, his fundraising has gone straight up.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I mean, in particular since the Miami, but since the New York arraignment and the appearance in court, his fundraising has steadily gone up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of this stuff is feeding into those who are going to back him, because look, if Americans perceive that there's something unfair going on, you're necessarily going to get more backing than you would have otherwise. I mean, it's like I don't like seeing people railroaded. I support that person. I don't like seeing people, unfairly targeted. I'm going to support that person. So in this instance, that support, it is necessarily directed towards his campaign, as his campaign managers should do, right? So we're seeing the fruits of that. And I do really, really wonder how it's going to impact both the primary and eventually the general. Like that, and both of those things could be exactly opposite, or could be in line. I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I think it's going to have an effect.
And speaking of impact, I wonder how many folks are thinking, this is like Groundhog Day.
We see this over and over.
We're seeing this thing over and over. And even Tucker kind of intimated that on his third episode yesterday afternoon of Tucker on Twitter. And the first portion of it was about the arraignment. And he went back to when Trump made his comments during the debate, I think in 2016, accusing the government of lying. And you could hear the gasps in the audience because he played that clip. And, they've been lying to us. And he said that's when it started. When he accused them of lying, that's when the knives came out. And they said, we got to get rid of this guy. So I can understand Tucker having that feeling. By the way, it was a pretty interesting episode that came out yesterday afternoon at about 5:30 Central Time.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, but he's basically calling Fox's bluff.
Yeah.
Fox sent him a cease and desist, and he's basically calling her bluff. So interesting to see what happens.
I will not cease and desist.
To your what you were just saying a second ago, I think this does help Trump in the nomination race,
in the
primaries and caucuses. I really do think it does. I think it probably hurts him in the general election, just because you've got a whole lot of people who are just sick of it all, and they don't want the chaos, and they associate that with Donald Trump. Rightly or wrongly, that's what they do.
Yeah. I think the independents, and this is one of those interesting things too, is that the independents will be able to do both of the this is unfair to Donald Trump, but I'm tired of hearing about all of this bullcrap.
Right. And so that's the thing is, when it comes to the presidential race itself, we're covering it. We're covering all of the candidates, but it's hard to cover all the candidates when one dominates all the headlines. So I am not going to be on a Donald Trump watch every single day. We're going to cover all of them as well. All right, just ahead here. Speaking of elections, you want to make sure they're fair. You want to make sure your vote's counted. You want to make sure somebody who's not supposed to be voting does not have a vote counted. You want to make sure your vote is secure. But the Missouri Secretary of State does a lot more than that. Just ahead here in about 4 minutes. Shane Scholler, former state representative, Greene County clerk. He wants to be the next Secretary of State. Secretary of State does a lot more than just oversee elections. We'll get his take on the vision for the office just ahead, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend, with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine. Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s New Country streaming now.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws.
News, analysis, opinion.
This is a sad day for the equal application of the law. We all know that.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, the Secretary of State does more than oversee elections in any state. Missouri is going to pick a new one next year because Jay Ashcroft is running for governor. So Shane Joler asking for the job, going to make his case for your vote here in just a moment. Don't forget, we want your dad jokes, people. We want your dad jokes. All right, we are teaming up with Blust Jewelers, blustjewelers.com for our Father's Day promotion. And as Stell pointed out just a little bit ago, time's running out.
Tick, 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 people.
Only 2 days left to get your entry in.
Yep.
Because we're announcing the winner Friday.
Yes. So go to newstalkstl.com and send us your best dad joke or your worst dad joke. I don't care.
Oh, yes. Is there a differentiation between the best and the worst dad joke?
Yep. And we got a gallery of those up, but we're going to pick one, and somebody's going to get a $500 gift certificate to Blust Jewelers in Creve Coeur, just off Olive Boulevard. All right, I'm Mike. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. Joined now by Shane Scholler, who is currently the Greene County Clerk. And Shane, you remember a guy named Tim Jones, right?
Very well.
Yes.
I was just on the air with him on Monday morning down in Springfield.
So when Tim was Speaker, you were the Speaker Pro Tem of the Missouri Legislature, the House.
Well, it was actually Steve Tilley, and you may recall
that
Steve. He resigned.
Yep.
I was the speaker in the interim,
Yep.
and then Tim became speaker. So for about 2 or 3 months, he was speaker while I was the pro tem.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're now the Greene County clerk, so you've
That's
been
right.
overseeing elections. And Greene County is the state's largest county, right?
Well, in terms of having a county clerk, that's correct.
Yeah,
But
okay.
we're about 4th largest in size. St.
Okay.
Charles surpasses Greene County in terms of population, I believe.
Okay, so a lot of votes, though.
Correct. Absolutely.
And now you're running for Secretary of State.
That's right.
Made that announcement, what, about a month and a half ago? Something
Well,
like
back
that?
in February, actually.
Was it February?
It goes by
Okay,
fast. It feels like a month and a
I
half
think
ago.
I've gotten every single point I've made wrong so far. So far.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
So we'll start with
And that's being a dad, right? Every
That's
point.
right.
Exactly.
Every point, exactly.
Feels like it.
So we'll start with the elections, because everybody
Yes.
thinks of Secretary of State as the election authority, which it is, but there's a lot more to the job as well.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So let's start with election, because I suspect, Shane, that almost all the questions you're getting have to do with election security.
Absolutely.
How would you assess the election security in Missouri right now, and what can we do better to better secure those elections?
Absolutely. Well, Missouri has always done well when it comes to election security. One of the biggest things that Missouri did years ago was we require bipartisanship. And so when we're pre-testing our election equipment, post-testing, election day, you're seeing bipartisan election judge teams across the board. And that's extremely important in terms of having one Republican, one Democrat there, making sure that the election is run fairly. And then I think last year when the election integrity bill passed, we continued to improve upon that, making sure that drop boxes would not be allowed in the state of Missouri. That was critical. We got rid of the paper forms of documentation on voter ID. Now it is a true photo ID, which I think that's what the voters voted for in 2016. You know, those are the types of things that have continued to improve election security here in our state. But one of the things that we need to do, and a lot of voters probably don't know about this, but absentee voting, when you receive an absentee ballot back through the mail as an election authority, we're not required to check that signature on the outer envelope. And
Really?
that's right, absolutely. Now, is it a best practice by most election authorities that I know? Yes, they do check that signature. My concern is if you have an election where there is an outcome that you question those signatures were not checked, there would be nothing you could do to hold that election authority accountable for not checking those signatures.
Oh,
wow.
We've got to get that changed.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. That's I did not.
But I
know
don't
that.
want listeners thinking election authorities don't do that. They do.
Okay.
It's but at the same time, if they don't, there's nothing you can do about it.
So we might as well. Let's
Need
just
to
go
get
ahead-
it in the law.
Yeah, let's put it in the law.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, get it covered before there's a problem. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Now,
Yes.
Shane, what other duties are in the Secretary of State's office that maybe people aren't aware of, but they should be thinking about as they're evaluating their candidates?
Well, if you invest your funds, election security, investment security is one of the things that the Secretary of State does. And so they're the watchdog to make sure that investments in the state of Missouri are being protected for your dollar. Another thing is business administration. So anyone who goes to license their business in our state, they have to go through the Secretary of State's office in order to get that business license. That's incredibly important. Then you think about archives, making sure that we preserve and protect the documents and the history of the state of Missouri. That goes through the Secretary of State notary. Anyone who's a notary, that notary goes through the Secretary of State. And so the neat thing about being county clerk is we're an administrative office as well. So, for example, I do tax administration. I work between the collector revenue and the assessor. We also do payroll for the entire county, Greene County. We also do licensing for there in Greene County, mainly liquor licensing. So that's the great thing about being county clerk is that it is an administrative office, just like the Secretary of State's office. So it really prepares you well for this office.
See, I would think, of course, being the history nerd that I am, and Shane and I have known each other a long time.
Yeah.
Let's not
Yes.
admit how long, but a long time. I'm a history nerd, and the archives and the records to me would be one of the fun aspects of the job.
I love history as well. Almost had a minor in history in college, and so I would agree. Just being able to see, especially think about Lewis and Clark, just the documents they have in terms of that is just incredible. And so we have a rich history here in Missouri, and the Secretary of State's office does a great job of protecting and promoting that. And the library, they also have the statewide library as well.
Right. The business I've worked with I have a DBA, that I do business with, and you go through the Secretary of State's office. I think it's like $7 or something like that to do that. So a lot of people don't pay attention to that sort of thing because it's not headline, it's not partisan, it's not it's not the fire breathing type of stuff you fight over. But when it comes to having somebody top, now that's a situation where if you're elected, the people who run all that stuff have probably been there for 10 or 20 years. And so you're administering what they're doing. This isn't a particularly partisan job. So what is it about your background that you would bring to that aspect of it to deal with people who are frankly, experts in securities or, insurance regulation or all of that kind of stuff? Because you're running for an office that you don't have to be a securities expert or anything. So, but you're the one who's going to be held accountable for whatever happens in those departments.
It's a great question. For example, when I was Speaker Pro Tem, it was important to understand that my role as Speaker Pro Tem was I knew what I believed, but I also had to be fair when I was in the dais and making the rules of the House in terms of enforcing those rules. As county clerk, it's no different. I'm a Republican, not ashamed to be a Republican, a conservative, but at the end of the day, when we are administering elections, it is my duty to be fair and to make sure everyone gets their voice heard. And so we want liberal Democrats, we want independents, we want conservatives, we want anyone who has a voice to make sure their voice is heard. And that's what I've done during my tenure as county clerk, and I can continue to do that as Secretary of State because it's understanding your role. And so everyone has beliefs that they want to make sure that people understand, but you also have to understand the role you're in and when it's appropriate to assert those beliefs. And you really get that, training when you're a county clerk because I put, those things aside to make sure that every voter is treated fairly. Everyone who comes in the office is treated fairly because I'm there to serve them.
Shane, you mentioned the Secretary of State's office is in charge of state money and investments and things like that. Is any of this ESG stuff impact that job, and if so, how?
Secretary Ashcroft, has been out on the forefront of that as Secretary of State, making sure that does not become an issue. I know he's worked with the legislature in that regard, and certainly that's something that I think as Secretary of State I want to continue on to make sure that investments are investments, that we're not getting into agendas with investments and telling people that, well, if you invest in this, then we'll give you a higher, et cetera, ranking, et cetera. I think that's where we have to make sure that, again, we just let business be business and not let, whether it's conservative, whether it's, quote, liberal, those need to have nothing to do when it comes to investments and securities.
Hey, when you look at whether it's elections or whether it's the business side of things, Shane, we're visiting with Shane Scholler, Republican candidate for Secretary of State, by the way, if you're just joining us. It seems like you've almost got to try to figure out what the next challenge is going to be. We know what the challenges have been as far as like 2020 election. You've administered elections now before, during, and after the COVID shutdowns and everything. But when you look at what's going to be next, what do you see as the future challenges in the near future, whether it's elections or whether it's, business security or anything like that?
Well, one of the things, because we were talking about the paper ballot earlier, incredibly important you always have a paper ballot. A lot of people, have questions about the machines. And one of the things that I'm working on, and I think really is where we need to head as a state is I talked about bipartisan election judge teams. One of the challenges we have, though, it happens right here in St. Louis, it happens in Kansas City, it happens in rural Missouri, is a lot of times it's very hard for election authorities to find bipartisan election judge teams. One of the things I did is I worked with the bill in the election integrity bill last year was prior to the bill passing as a county clerk, if someone that wanted to go serve as an election judge in another county, they had to get my permission to do that. And so I went to Curtis Trent, who was our state rep at the time. He's now my state senator. I said, we need to get this changed so that they don't have to get our permission. The reason why
Wait a minute, you reduced your own power over people?
Yes, absolutely.
Whoa, hold on. Hold the phone.
Seriously?
Wait.
When was the last time that happened?
You're a Republican doing Republican things.
That's right, exactly.
That's crazy.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
I believe in freedom. What can I say?
That's wild.
Anyway, and I said, because what we want to do is when election authorities in one area having a hard time finding the party, for example, whether it's Democrat or Republican, let's work together as, for example, our state Republican Party chair, work with the Center Committee chair, state Democratic chair, work with the county chairs, and make sure that we can have true bipartisanship across the state. Because I tell people, our statutes empower every voter to be involved in the process, whether or not you're an election judge, whether you're a watcher, whether you're a challenger. A lot of folks don't realize that. So when you have voters call in and say, well, I've got questions and I don't trust, get involved. Our statutes empower you to do that, and I want to get in there, roll up our sleeves, and make sure that we have transparency. That's been one of the critical things that I've learned as county clerk is the more open we are about elections, the more trust there is. As I tell folks, I want you to know everything about election except how your neighbor votes.
Did that law pass?
It did pass.
Okay, so that is the law now.
And that's one thing Secretary of State I want to roll up my sleeves and begin to work on, because we've got to have more people involved and not less. And so those who are the greatest skeptics, get involved, come be a part of it, and make sure that you have your eyes in the process so that if there is an issue, highlight it. But if there's not an issue, you can see it, understand it, and trust it.
You got a few minutes to hang out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do an information segment here. It's coming up on 7:46 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. We got Shane Scholler, former state representative, current Greene County clerk. He is asking for your vote to be Secretary of State for the state of Missouri. Got some questions for him? Let me know. I'm watching Rumble. Stell and Gabe are watching Twitter and Facebook. Of course, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. USA.
It's not uncommon today for young people to try out different labels in search of their truth.
In search of their truth or following your indoctrination.
Larry Connors.
Which came first?
Weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Do you live in West St. Louis County? Then you can get West News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. West News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. West News Magazine. Anybody who wants it gets it. Anybody who gets it wants it. Subscribe for free today. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey everybody, it's Paul Kurtman. Make sure you join me every Saturday from 12 to 1 here on News Talk STL for the Paul Kurtman Show. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
Shane, you've run across that Paul Kurtman guy before, haven't you?
Yeah, I was actually talking to him yesterday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, absolutely. Great guy. He's currently serving as the treasurer for my campaign, advisor to the campaign. You just cannot beat Paul Kurtman.
Yep.
The best.
All right, it's 7:50 50 right now.
Right now.
Got Shane Scholler in studio with us. Shane, former state representative, now running for Secretary of State of Missouri. Got Gabe here, got Stell here as well. My name is Mike Ferguson. What's ever since we've had the recent election controversies, obviously around the country, Shane, so much attention to how we vote and how we cast the votes is almost overshadowed the pitch for vote for or against this person or that issue or whatever the case is. So if you're elected to the Secretary of State's office, yes, you're a conservative, yes, you're a Republican, but you're going to have that space where you insulate so that people can focus on arguing over the ideas and the issues and the candidates to where we don't worry about the elections themselves. I mean, we should always watch them, but can we get to a point where, at least in Missouri, everybody across the board, from the most far left Marxist out there to the most fringe right person who's a conspiracy whatever, can we get to a point where for the most part we just say, yeah, we either won or we lost, whatever the results show, that's what actually happened?
I do, and I think it gets back to the people being involved. One of the things I'm a firm believer in, and that I really learned following the 2020 election, is how important it is that we have strong chain of custody procedures, meaning that we know every time that ballot moves, we've got documentation. So we went back and looked at our documents. We simplified and actually made our documents better. We made more documents in order to make sure every time that ballot was moving that we had signatures following the ballot in terms of people that were there when that happened. Those are types of things that when questions happen after an election, is you can go back and say, okay, in this period of time, this is what happened, this is who was there, and then we can go back and have conversations with them.
Because that has to do with like the drop boxes.
Exactly.
That's the objection that I have and have had for years to the drop boxes, is because you don't know who had those ballots. You don't know who filled them out. There is absolutely nothing to document that the voter did it. And I'll go back to what I know about some Kansas City things, where there was one liberal activist organization that would simply go, this was, long before anybody had thoughts of drop boxes or ballot, what we now call ballot harvesting, is they would simply go into like nursing homes. And they would walk in and they would walk out with a big box full of ballots filled out, and they'd go hand them in. And then if you objected to that, then you were disenfranchising somebody. And the rest of us are here going, wait a minute, we have no proof that the voters actually filled out those ballots. So when you talk about the chain of custody, that is absolutely crucial to making sure that we have these. And I've heard, the media, the leftist media, is always going to go, voter fraud is not a problem in Missouri. Now, keep in mind that we have actually had an election overturned in court in St. Louis over the past, 12 years or whatever
2016,
it was. 20. Oh, was it 16? Was that recently?
You're talking about the Hubbard
The Hubbard case,
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
And that was basically ballot harvesting.
Yeah, and that election, a judge, the judge ordered a new case. Dave Rowland was the lawyer in that case.
Yes.
And that's where, was it Rasheed Aldridge, I think, got elected in that follow-up election.
No, Franks did. They ordered a new
that's right, Bruce Franks.
within 30 days.
Yeah, Bruce Franks got elected.
And because the absentee ballot count that came out on the day of the election far outweighed what the election day total was, and that's where they said there's an irregularity here. We have concerns. Judge ordered a new election, and that's when Franks won.
Right, and so when somebody says that's not a problem, well, it has happened in the past, but
and as you know, over in 2010 in Kansas City, you had the Rizzo Royster race.
Oh yeah,
where 2 people voted fraudulently, and Rizzo was the benefactor of that. But 3 years later, 2 of his relatives were convicted of voter fraud, and he never would have won that election.
So it is rare, thank goodness.
It is.
Is this a matter of we've just got to be out on guard and ahead of whatever the next one is? For instance, Oregon and some other places.
And that's why I'm a firm believer of vote in person. By the way, for your listeners, one of the things that passed an election integrity bill is if we get 10 or more requests from any nursing home for absentee voting, we send a bipartisan team there to oversee the voting process to make sure that they are voting independently of anyone voting for them. And so that passed the election integrity bill, so that was critical. And then another thing is that, one of the reasons we want to make sure military men overseas folks are able to vote by mail. We want to make sure if someone is infirmed, is ill, that they're able to vote by mail. But I always encourage people, make sure you vote in person. I call it the VIP model, vote in person. The reason why is for people that want to go to vote by mail, what you don't understand, and we see it we've seen it during absentee voting, we see it on election day, is there's a lot of coercion that happens in voting. And we've seen it in person. I've got training that actually says this is how you intervene. If you see someone directing the voter as to how to vote, sometimes it may even be innocent. They just know how the voter's going to vote. They're going to tell them. You can't do that when you're voting when you're at the polling location. Well, think about if you got all to vote by mail and those ballots are being delivered to every home. There is, you have absolutely no assurance that the ballots that are coming back were actually filled out by those voters. And that's something that we don't want to open up to. Just like when you mentioned drop boxes, I don't want the liability of that in terms of being an election authority, of having to run and having to pick those up, bring them back. You just create more opportunities for potential fraud or just error to insert itself. Sometimes it's not fraud, it's just human error. And so the more pieces you have, the harder it gets. And that's why I tell people, I want to make sure those that need to vote by mail can, but if not, vote in person. Because then, if you make a mistake in your ballot, you can correct it. You get to see that ballot accepted. That is the best way to vote. And I encourage every listener to remember that and always vote in person if you can.
Okay, so for those rare cases where you're okay with the voting by mail, obviously military is one thing. There's a certain amount of security
people overseas.
There. Yeah. But so with those, what are the measures to keep those as secure and keep that chain of custody documented as well as possible?
Well, that's where, as I mentioned, whenever we send out any our deputy clerks in the office, they send that out. It's documented within our MCVR system when it's sent out. And then, of course, once it gets back from the voter, then it's documented, it's then accepted. And then we actually have a team that comes together, bipartisan team. Those envelopes are opened up by the team together, and then they make sure that everything in the outer envelope is correct. If there's any question about the signature, they make those decisions, for example. Then after that, they're separated. Everything, of course, is kept securely underneath lock and key and camera, and all of those ballots are ready until the day of the election morning. Of course, we can't start until no earlier than 5 days before the election, 5 actual days, not business days, preparing those ballots. But there's a lot of protocols in place, and all of the forms and documentation follow every single ballot as that process happens.
Okay, I'm going to shortchange on time on this answer. Voter rolls.
Yes.
How do we make sure that those are accurate and we don't have dead people on them, and we have everybody who is registered is on there able to vote, and somebody who shouldn't be on there, they've moved or whatever? What's the best way to keep those voter rolls? And I apologize for shortchanging.
No, that's fine. One of the things that we need to do, for example, we're working with our assessor now. And so anytime someone moves, we are getting that information, checking to see if they are a registered voter, following up with that voter to make sure that happens. Of course, we're checking the death notices, et cetera. But one of the things we need to do as a state is we need to invest more resources into voter registration. What a lot of folks probably don't know is that the funding I get for elections cannot be spent on voter registration. That makes no sense to me as election authority, because you can't have an election without voters. So we need to be able to make sure that when we have funding that we can use for elections, we can also use that funding for voter registration. Not that we don't have a budget for it, but for every election we get 5% that we can charge essentially as a fee for administering that election. We can only use it for elections. And so we now, I think, need to be able to look and say, how can we work with our state legislature to find more resources to invest in voter registration so we can do the things you're talking about?
Website?
Shane for SOS.com.
All right. Of course, we've already tagged you on our social media as well. Shane Scholler, candidate for Secretary of State. Thanks so much for coming in. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Shane.
Enjoyed it.
All right. Just ahead here, St. Louis Republicans, city Republicans respond to, all the malfeasance that's happening at City Hall.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here, excited to tell you about one of our newest clients. I've been a customer of them for years, Professional Irrigation Systems. If you're tired of dragging hoses around your yard to keep your grass alive every summer, now's the time to make your life easier. Residential irrigation installs in one day, custom designed for your property. They will enhance your curb appeal. They've also got landscape lightings, makes the architecture of your home stand out, making all your neighbors envious. Fertilization packages as well for all your lawn care needs and great financing options. ProIrrigation.com, 636-692-4441. ProIrrigation.com.
On June 8, 2023, Gateway Creative Broadcasting Incorporated, licensee of KNBS-FM 94.1 MHz, Bowling Green, Missouri, filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission for assignment of license. Members of the public wishing to view this application or obtain information about how to file comments and petitions on the application can visit publicfiles.fcc.gov and search in KNBS's public file. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. After pleading not guilty to all counts, former President Trump is denouncing the federal charges brought against him by the Biden Department of Justice.
I think it's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country. We have a country that's corrupt. We have a country that's got no borders. We have a country that's got nothing but problems. We're a nation in decline, and then they do this stuff.
The president returned to his golf club in New Jersey after pleading not guilty in a Miami courtroom. And during a fiery speech to supporters, he accused President Biden of election interference.
A corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges.
Trump also said if he's elected, he would appoint a special prosecutor to target Joe Biden.
White House correspondent Craig Clugston. Odessa, the latest Ukrainian city to come under attack.
Russian forces have fired cruise missiles at the southern Ukrainian city of Odessa overnight, and shelling has destroyed homes in the eastern Donetsk region, killing some citizens and injuring many more. A Ukrainian military spokesman says Russia has stepped up aerial strikes in the 15-month war against Ukraine, just as the country's troops have reported limited gains at an early counter-offensive. In the east, Donetsk regional governor Pavlo Kyrylenko has written on Telegraph, some people died after shelling destroyed 7 homes and damaged dozens more in the cities of Kramatorsk and Konstantinovka. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Wholesale prices declined 0.3% April to May. The Labor Department's Producer Price Index rose 1.1% last month when compared to May of last year. China's announced what it calls a strategic partnership with the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas currently paying a visit to Beijing. On Wall Street, Dow futures are down 79 points. NASDAQ futures 12 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend, with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Mike Ferguson
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I love Jesus. He was my superhero. Twitter is like being able to read every toilet wall in the world.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
There's a group that's real active downtown. It's Citizens for a Greater Downtown St. Louis. Let me get the actual name here. They did a study, a report on how to reverse the downward trend of the city of St. Louis and how to improve downtown in particular, guys. Mm-hmm. Do you know what their groundbreaking takeaway is, what they came up with?
Their groundbreaking results?
Groundbreaking results of their study.
Okay, what?
They need more police.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk that would be the result?
If only somebody
Wow.
had said something about that.
Gabe and I could have done that for free.
Oh, man. Hey, half price. If you're good at something, never do it for free.
You're right.
You capitalist. All right, 8:06 right now. That's Gabe. That's Stell. I'm Mike. Mary Teresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans joins us right now. And Mary Teresa, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the news of this. The downtown advocates, they're now saying the same thing as so many others. This is not a partisan thing anymore, but we've got so many moving parts. New prosecutor, new police chief. The mayor still seems to be kind of digging in her heels when it comes to not expanding the funding and everything for police. Where do we go from here? First of all, in the conversation, but more importantly, in the action of actually making downtown St. Louis the place people will want to return to 24/7 for business or to live or to wherever, because that's affecting the whole region.
Well, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey there.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a great morning. It's a great morning to be outside, but not downtown.
Yeah, I'm going to...
the report that you just cited, I was reading it last night, and I thought, you know what, this is a report everybody needs to read. I put a button on our website so that when people go to our website, they can see the green button, click it, and read this report. And one of the things that I was really impressed about is that they actually use the word false narrative, that the reports about what the city wants us to believe as far as the statistics of crime downtown, they're saying just right out, it is a false narrative.
Good morning, Mary Teresa. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So how do you think this plays to all of the potential convention goers?
Yeah, I mean,
that were like, we got Dot Foods
Yep.
saying that they're not coming downtown specifically because of crime. Do you think there are other companies, other organizations that are taking a second look at bringing their business downtown?
I think they're taking a second look, a third look, and a final look.
Yeah,
I think they're going to go away in droves.
Yeah, and the thing that was so interesting, Mary Teresa, is how explicit Dot Foods was. They said very specifically, we have been here for decades, but because of this one thing, we're going to Denver next year. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe we won't come back. When it comes to City Hall, when it comes to the politics of the elected officials and all the others, what's it going to take to get that message through? You have to get rid of your pro-criminal ideology and actually address the law enforcement deficiency here. And you've got to do this regardless of what your political activists are telling you. I mean, can that message get through in a city like St. Louis?
It hasn't so far, but it's got to. And I think this Citizens for a Greater St. Louis, Greater Downtown St. Louis, this report, I think it's going to really put some teeth into the argument and finally get through. Dot Foods specifically mentioned crime downtown. And I think they were being nice about saying that, they might return in the future. I don't think they're going to. It's going to have to radically change in downtown St. Louis, and it's going to have to radically change and stay changed for years before they're going to feel comfortable coming back. And I think other big companies are going to follow suit.
So let me switch gears just a little bit. We're visiting with Mary Teresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans, and we're going to give out the website information here in just a couple of minutes. One of those basic functions of city government, Mary Teresa, in the news this week, and that has to do with the water and the infrastructure. And City Hall saying, well, we may have to raise the water rates. Well, one of the reasons would be because they've kind of neglected the water infrastructure. Other cities have done it as well. Address that first, but also what other aspects of the basic government services need to be focused on and revisited, because we find out about it ends up in the headlines when it just gets to a ridiculously terrible spot. But the water right now, I mean, you can't mess around with that, but they've been neglecting it.
Well, water is a big deal, and there is no civilized living without clean water. I don't care if you're in North St. Louis or if you're in South St. Louis. You got to have clean water. And the truth is we have never been in compliance with the Clean Water Act. And we need, and to the tune of over $1 billion, we need that kind of an overhaul in our water infrastructure. Last weekend, we had 16 water breaks over the span of several neighborhoods. It wasn't all in one neighborhood. It was over the span of several. And, you know, if you're familiar with the city of St. Louis, Hampton Avenue is a big street. And this was in neighborhoods on the east side of Hampton and the west side of Hampton that these water breaks were happening. You know, I was driving home Saturday evening, and I saw lots of shining lights, you know, from police cars that were blocking off streets. And the next day, the streets were still blocked off. This is a very, very serious thing. And what, you know, you ask about other services. You know, we've got trash, we've got other things, but there's more talk out of City Hall about reparations than clean water. And I find that to be a real problem, because we don't have a reparations crisis. We have a water infrastructure crisis, and it's got to be dealt with, because if we don't have clean water, and then we've got all this crime downtown, who could come here?
Mary Teresa, there does seem to be
if you're not going to get shot by a gun, you're going to get killed by the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Carried away.
Mary Teresa, there does seem to be a focus on new programs and new ways of spending money that seem to be completely beyond the purview of the city, what the city should be doing, and somehow all of these other things are getting neglected. You know, infrastructure, including water and streets and police. How do we right the ship?
Well, I'll tell you, we've been under a one-party rule in the city since the 40s. We have not had a Republican in office in downtown, in City Hall, in decades. The last time we had a Republican for mayor was 1949. One-party rule is not the answer. It is not. We need to get Republicans in City Hall so that we can have a balance, and we can have people in there that are uncovering this stuff and get this stuff done before it gets to be a crisis.
So a lot of people are saying, yeah, but Mary Teresa, it's a blue city. It's just a very liberal city. You know, is it possible to get Republicans elected? So talk a little bit about what you're doing as far as building the party and the campaigns, but you're also looking not just at the upcoming elections, you know, next year, the year after that, or 2 years from now and beyond, but also you're looking at boards and commissions as well, which we talked about a few weeks ago. What's the update on that? Because there are ways that Republicans and conservatives can get in and actually have a voice now that they may not realize.
Well, you know, the boards and commissions, there's over 100 of them. And in the fine print, it's really not so fine. It says that Republicans are supposed to have seats on these boards and commissions. And that has been kept a little bit of a secret. And now that we know that, we're going after it. And the update is that after we were on the show last, and talking about boards and commissions, someone in City Hall must have been listening to your show, because we got a call from the mayor's office that evening wanting to know how they can help us move our application for the City Charter Commission, how we can move that along. So I hope that wasn't just a gesture in name only. So we're going to see, and we're going to keep you updated on that, because we are going to continue from here on to get on those boards and commissions and have a seat at the table.
All right. A lot of Republicans may not realize that there is a growing Republican Party in the city. So what are some of the things that you have going on? I mean, what's coming up for the GOP in St. Louis City?
Well, we have our picnic, which isn't just your average picnic. We get over 100 people at the picnic. We draw people from all over. We draw people from Jefferson City. Last year, Jay Ashcroft, our Secretary of State, he came and was our guest at the picnic. And this year we're working on another person from Jeff City. Nothing finalized yet, but the picnic is September 10th, and it's free food, free beer. It's a great time, and it's a great way to meet other Republicans. Now we have a monthly meeting. The first Thursday of every month we have our general committee meeting, and it's open to the public. You can get all the particulars on our website, which we'll give in a minute, but we have a growing attendance. People that hear about us on News Talk STL, and just from word of mouth, people are saying, there are some Republicans in the city, and so they're coming and getting involved. One of the things that I think is really exciting is that we're seeing people, not just the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70-year-olds. We're seeing 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds coming to our meetings. They want to get involved. We just had a gentleman in the last couple of months. He came and he said he used to be a Democrat. He's now in his 30s. He wants to get involved. In fact, he had moved away when our current mayor was elected. He had moved away because of he just thought the city had gone too far down. But he missed the city, and he wants to come back. He's a young professional, and he has moved over to the Republican side, and he is ready to get to work. And we're just seeing that more and more. Just 3 or 4 years ago, if we had 15 people at one of our committee meetings, we felt like it was a good deal. Now we get 30, 40, sometimes even 50 people to the meetings. People are getting involved. They really are.
Hey, Mary Teresa, let's go ahead and give out that website information where people can look at your calendar and get in touch with you directly. So how do they, because I think, Gabe, we've already tagged her on social media, right? Oh, we've already done that.
STL City GOP.
Okay, and then so what's the website?
stlouisrepublicans.com.
All right, Mary Teresa McLean from St. Louis City Republicans. Hey, appreciate the update. I know we're going to talk to you again pretty soon.
I look forward to it as usual. Thank you very much.
You got it. In a couple of meetings that I've been out there with the St. Louis City Republicans, it's been 40, 50, and one of them I think was even bigger than that. So there are a lot of people who are saying we're not giving up, we're getting involved, we're going door to door, and they're seeing results. So do not think that it is a lost cause. All right, 314-912-1019, a number of stories, including the arraignment of Donald Trump, bring you up to date on. And then in less than 20 minutes, the one and the only Vic Porcelli.
Oh, yeah.
Award-winning. That's right. He's going to be at the VFW in Overland because it is Flag Day. We'll talk to him just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up.
Columbo and Katie.
Vivek Ramaswamy says the public is owed maximum transparency when it comes to the DOJ. We'll discuss this on Wednesday and catch up with Rodney Boyd at 2:25 on everything happening in Jeff City.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic, and I'm here with Kathy Connor at Connor Roofing. Kathy, What makes Connor Roofing different?
Hey, Vic. I'm glad that you asked. I think that what really sets Connor Roofing apart is our relationship with our customers. It's very important to us to develop that trust with the homeowner. This is what has allowed us to serve our friends and our neighbors in the St. Louis area for 30 years. Whether we are doing a roof or a gutter repair or even a full replacement, you can count on Connor for quality service and workmanship.
Thanks, Kathy. To find out more, visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Bob Onder.
On this whole transgender issue, Washington University has a PAC with $1 million in it to fund Republican rhinos who don't want to protect our kids or protect innocent human lives. It's all too common. So-called Republicans go to Jeff City and govern like Democrats.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
As they say in the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. And ladies and gentlemen, we're pretty close to that here in the United States of America right now.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
It's okay to be on the winning or losing side of an election as long as you're on the side of the power elite. But if you rock the boat, if you thumb your nose at the establishment, you have the full weight of the police state come down on you.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
I call it coup by subpoena.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
iHelp is the immigrant home English learning program here in St. Louis that helps empower immigrant families by providing individualized, in-home English language education and tools for the effective navigation of our community. iHelp connects volunteer teachers with adult immigrant and refugee learners in our community to develop English and life skills. To learn more or to volunteer as a tutor, visit ihelpstl.org. That's ihelpstl.org.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, Donald Trump's federal arraignment was fairly uneventful in the courtroom, so what's next? We'll talk about that. The failure of Missouri lawmakers to enact initiative petition reform may have left the door open for anti-Second Amendment activists. We'll talk about that. I'd love to get your thought on that here in a minute, Gabe. And things get a little bit chippy at Busch Stadium between the Giants and the Cardinals yesterday.
Ooh, really?
Oh, yeah, it happened. It happened. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. All right, as you know, yesterday was arraignment day for Donald Trump in Miami. He made a brief appearance in federal court. Town Hall's Greg Cluxton has the story.
Trump appeared in a Miami courtroom where his attorney said, "We most certainly enter a plea of not guilty." The former president is facing charges on 37 criminal counts, including obstructing the government's efforts to retrieve top-secret documents. As he rode in a motorcade to the courthouse, Trump denounced the prosecution in a series of social media posts.
And what we don't know at this point is what's next as far as a timeline or hearings or anything like that, because typically what happens is the judge will list a deadline to say, okay, here's when your evidence is going to be due. You got to submit it to the court so it can be submitted to the other side. But because of the vastness of the amount of evidence and also obviously the high profile nature, the high stakes of this, looks like they're going to give a little bit more time than you would normally see even in a federal case, Gabe.
Yeah, and I should hope that they're going to be thorough here.
Yeah.
But I also want this thing to go quickly. I think the Trump legal team also wants to get to the trial as soon as possible. So I'm wondering how much time they're really gonna want to take on the evidence before they really just want to jump into trials. Like, let's go now.
Yeah.
Like they take off their jackets and like, let's step outside.
I would think that it would be in Trump's best interest to have a trial sooner rather than later.
Sure. Certainly.
Yeah, that's my guess. Okay, get this. Some liberal activists are now working on an initiative petition to chip into the Second Amendment in Missouri.
Oh, here.
Oh, yeah,
They're
right
trying
here.
this bullcrap.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, so the group calls itself Sensible Missouri. That's the name of the group here.
Oh, yes. Common sense, sensible,
yes.
all these lovely terms.
They hope, yeah. So what they're wanting to do, Gabe, is they want to put a proposal on the ballot in 2024. They want to put an initiative petition on the ballot. And that would allow, if it's passed, it would allow counties and cities to enact gun control laws that are not allowed by the state and, frankly, by the Second Amendment.
Oh, really?
But they don't give a crap about the Second Amendment.
And of course, we know how these ballot initiatives go. You throw a couple mil at it, and suddenly you can change the Constitution. You know, are we going to get the ballot initiative reform before this happens?
See, it's funny you should bring that up because remember, this is exactly why the Republican-led legislature looked at saying you shouldn't be able to buy a constitutional amendment to the state of Missouri with 50% plus one vote on any one election.
Yeah.
That's why that there were several people who were saying, hey, we can still have initiative petitions even for laws that are 50% plus one, but for a constitutional amendment, we need to raise the standard for this. And what's happening is the left, who knows that they cannot get any sort of gun control law or anything like that. They're also looking for one on abortion. They cannot get that through the legislature. So go the initiative petition route. Yeah, a couple $1 million. Give it a fancy name. Give it a heartwarming name. Lie about what's in it.
Yep.
And then you can dupe people into voting for it. Okay, so it's our job to get the word out. First of all, if Sensible Missouri comes out and asks you for a signature on a petition, say no.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll say a little more than that, but that's all I'm going to say
And
now.
then tell everybody around you what these people are trying to do. It's like, hey, guys, don't let these people lie to you right here. They're trying to take your guns away.
They really are. Now, they're arguing that their proposal would not allow for disarming people other than if police come across somebody who has a gun without a permit, that they would allow cities and counties to allow those police to take those weapons.
Wait a minute. So somebody who's constitutionally carrying in a constitutional carry state can still be accosted for their weapon? No.
Right.
Screw you.
What they're looking for is we are a constitutional carry state in the state of Missouri.
Yes.
Illinois is an anti-Second Amendment state. Missouri is a constitutional carry state. They want to allow carve-outs to carve out the constitutional carry protections of the state.
Yeah.
So state lawmakers simply fell down on the job when they could not get initiative petition reform passed. This is why it's important. Now, if you want to pass a law, you want to pass a statute, then put that on the ballot.
Sure.
But the thing is that then the state legislature goes in and overturns it right away, which they should do.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is a constitutional amendment that is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah.
That's why IP reform has to be among the top priorities in 2024 in the state legislature. Although if they get this on the ballot, I don't know if that's soon enough. This may be under the old rules.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, man, we got to fight this thing, guys.
Yep, absolutely do. All right, as we just mentioned with Mary Teresa McLean, citizens for Greater Downtown St. Louis have been working on a study regarding what's needed to reverse the decline of the city. Their groundbreaking conclusion is that the city needs more police.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I wonder how much did that study cost?
Breaking news, you know.
How much? I'm very, very curious. Whenever I hear these studies about it's like, hey, you know, water is wet, you know, and the government spent like $3 million on a study, but I keep wondering where they find these things because I could do it half price, guys.
Exactly. Breaking news. Study confirms.
Study confirms.
Need more police. And I'm not making fun of the organization.
Well, no.
But we told you that years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been saying it all along. Yeah. We've been harping about it for how long have we been harping about this thing?
2 years on this station.
At least.
Years before that on the other one.
Yeah. Jeez. Gosh.
All right, back to Washington, D.C. All right,
All right.
Republican lawmakers are investigating the accusations of bribery involving Joe Biden.
Glad somebody's looking into it.
Yep. Senator Marsha Blackburn, the Republican from Tennessee, was on Fox News' The Story last night. Now, she was talking about the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that was questioning FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate. She was discussing, kind of in part, a question that she was asking the deputy director and why she was asking him about this bribery scheme.
Is your job to protect the United States and the Constitution, or is it to protect Joe Biden? Because they have spent a lot of years providing cover for and not getting answers to what the Bidens have been up to.
Okay, accusations have been leveled in the U.S. Senate that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden have been paid. These are the accusations, the allegations that they have been paid by Burisma, which is an energy company in Ukraine, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars to affect policy and direct business and money into particularly Hunter Biden's pocket.
There's so many allegations. They're so wide-ranging. They all actually fit together with what we actually know so far. So I want the receipts. I want the real deals. I want people on the stand. I want documentation. I want all of the things, and I want the Biden family to go down for this thing.
They were being told that there are 17 voice recordings of those phone calls, 15 of those with Hunter Biden, 2 of those with Joe Biden. If those things exist, if they are out there, let's hear them.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's hear them. All right, finally here. I'm going to the Cardinals game today. It's a noon game. So the Giants are in town. I don't know if I'm going to get to see another bench clearing situation because that happened yesterday. Things got a little tense.
A hockey game broke out.
That's right. Now, this was more of like they had more of a, Sharks and Jets standoff like in West Side Story. Yeah. They didn't really rumble. They just kind of puffed up and got there on the field.
Right.
I have actually been at Busch Stadium when a brawl
when an actual brawl?
Yeah, when the one that happened, was it last year where guys were jumping over the wall on the bullpen and stuff. I was actually at that game. That was crazy.
Wow.
Yesterday's game, they kind of bowed up at each other and,
Okay.
Did the tough guy thing, but no real
Little
blows
peacocking
were done.
going.
Yeah, exactly. So but it is going from bad to worse with the Cardinals. And by the way, this sort of thing I just described, that bench clearing thing, that's a sign of a team that's frustrated.
Yes.
They lost again to the Giants at Busch Stadium. That guarantees that the Cardinals have lost this series. If they win today, then they at least avoid the sweep. But this is what's still the 5th or 6th series in a row that the Cardinals have actually lost at this point.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? You've heard me talk about this ad infinitum over the past couple of months. Flag Day, when I was a kid, was always the day that fans talked about regarding their team. And you always want to look at the standings on Flag Day. Well, guess what? Today's Flag Day, and it's not good to see your team in last place.
Don't look at the standings.
No.
Don't look at the standings.
It'll give you the sads.
Yeah, final score was 11-3 yesterday. Jack Flaherty gets the loss. He gave up 6 runs in 4 innings. 2 teams wrap up that series, like I said, this afternoon with a 12-15 game. I'll be there. If you see me, say hi. I'm the guy in the red Cardinal jersey.
No kidding.
If it helps, I'll be somewhere in the vicinity of the right field foul pole line on the right field side of it. So from the Cardinals dugout, go down, and I'm down in that area, down there. All right, just ahead, speaking of Flag Day, Vic Porcelli is celebrating Flag Day at the VFW in Overland, and he's going to be talking to us in about 3 minutes here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 meteorologist Matt Chambers with your first alert forecast. You will really start to feel that much advertised warm-up today. The afternoon high around 88. Still not particularly humid, though, and that's a good thing. Watch for clouds to build a bit in the midday and afternoon hours. Down into the mid-60s tonight, partly cloudy, and then Thursday and Friday hot. Highs in the low 90s. Humidity creeps up. Still on track for scattered storms this weekend with the highest chances focused on Father's Day. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michaels Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michaels, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Men, you fought hard for the role that you play in your children's lives. This Father's Day, Cordell & Cordell celebrates you the entire month of June. Join us every Friday for our live webinar series, Father's Fridays. There you'll receive much useful information from our panel of speakers. To register, go to CordellCordell.com/Father's Day.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town & Country, Missouri, 63017. CordellCordell.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Live and local.
Welcome home. And whoosh, sitting in traffic, stuck in a jam, and being entertained by Vic and Thunderstealing Ken.
This is News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, it's Flag Day. And a little bit later on today, and by a little bit later, I mean like 24 minutes, we're going to have Vic Porcelli is going to be broadcasting the Vic Porcelli Show from the VFW in Overland. And he joins us right now. So people, if you want to go out there, just stop by, say hi. Vic, how's the breakfast?
We're getting settled first. Trust me, we'll be eating breakfast.
Okay, a little bit earlier, Vic, we're talking about, obviously, you're there in part because it's Flag Day, and we're better to be than a VFW on that. But I felt the need to clarify to any liberals who might be listening, when we talk about honoring the flag, we mean the United States flag, not the pride flag.
Oh, exactly. You won't see one of those here today. No. About that. Yeah.
You know, Vic. I was wondering what they're serving out there because I'm a little hungry and I'm thinking about making a stop on my way home.
All right, hold on. I will get you that information. Hey, Joe.
I know there are eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
All
right.
That kind of stuff.
Can't go wrong with that.
We'll get you a full menu, though.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Did you see this controversy? I mean, I'm sure you did, Vic. I think you probably talked about it with the Pride event at the White House, where people were saying, "Hey, you broke the protocol for displaying the U.S. flag by putting that pride flag thing in the middle between the other U.S. flags," and the so-called fact checkers now have said, no, that's not true. They didn't break any protocol. Did you hear the ridiculous reason they're arguing why it was okay to do the way they did?
No, why was it okay?
Because there's a flagpole on top of the White House that has a small U.S. flag. So therefore, a U.S. flag was above all the others, and that way they can get away with highlighting the pride flag instead of the in between the U.S. flags.
You know what, Ken?
What?
They always have an excuse.
Oh yeah.
For when they screw up, and nobody told them about the flag protocol.
Well, you know what? I took exception to the fact that they were on equal plane.
That's
right.
right.
On equal
That's
plane.
right. And you know how I am about displaying the flag.
Oh
It's
my God, yeah.
A little pet peeve of mine. If you're going to put the flag up, God bless you, but put the stars where they belong.
Yeah, and that's where they got called out by veterans groups and some members of Congress who are veterans as well. And that's when the so-called fact checkers, and I found this on KSTK's website because they've got this so-called fact-checking group that they work with, and that's why they said, did the White House violate the protocol? No, they did not. And then they put this picture of like from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, like, look, there's a little flagpole on top of the White House, and that's why. And I'm thinking, oh, for crying out loud! Then you wonder why nobody gives a crap what the experts say, or the fact
and that
checkers.
Verified thing on Channel 5 is just, it's just some liberal group.
Yeah, Verified. It's an actual liberal company.
So Ken, tell everybody about that awesome helicopter outside.
Oh my God, it is so amazing out there. It's a real helicopter.
Yeah.
It's intimidating.
It is.
It's nice though. It's so you can walk right up to it and get a feel for what they went through when they were using it.
And the flags along the way here.
Awesome.
You can't miss this place.
No,
man. There is
no.
Old Glory from one block to the next, and this VFW Post 3944, just a great place to be. A great bunch of people.
What's the atmosphere
And,
like out there?
It's America, man. It's like you've been thrust back 50 years, old time bar. They got breakfast. Oh, and by the way, you can smoke in here.
Yeah.
So
what you might think, and then a bunch of veterans are here. It's amazing.
Yeah. Really is a cool place and a cool bunch of guys. So we're happy as heck to be here to celebrate Flag Day.
And we've been telling people all morning, literally, just stop by and say hi, because it's not like we've got you, cordoned off in some area. If you want to say hi to the guys, just really go on up. I mean, would love to. I'm sure you guys would love to meet them.
Can't miss us. We're right in front of the enormous Old Glory right behind us, man. This is the biggest flag I've ever. This is the closest I've been to a flag this big. Yeah,
and we've met Rich. Listen, Rich so far, BJ.
Yep.
And some other people are here. So yeah, come on down.
There's somebody getting breakfast right there.
There
I'm
you go.
hungry
Oh
now.
my goodness.
that's the way to do it. All right. So what's coming up here, guys? I mean, you're taking over in about 20 minutes or so. What's on the agenda today?
Well, besides being Flag Day, today also happens to be, by pure luck, Donald Trump's birthday.
Yeah.
No way.
So we'll have a I mean, the only thing better would have been the 4th of July. But here we are, Flag Day, Donald Trump's birthday. As you know, every morning when we start the show, we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and a different person leads us today. A bunch of veterans and people here at the VFW Post 3944 will lead us. Maybe Donald Trump will do it for us, too.
Wouldn't that be great?
And the really cool thing about the pledge this morning, Red Skelton, years ago on his show, took apart the Pledge of Allegiance word by word and what each and every word means. It's a very moving piece. We've actually gotten a lot of requests, Ken, to do that.
Oh, great.
So we'll be doing that as well. Play Me Some Biden's going to be fun here today.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the reaction from some of these guys.
We always have an unlimited supply of Play Me Some Biden.
Well, we sure do. Stephen Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research and the Free Enterprise Project, they bought shares in the Target. They bought Target shares, and then they do this with companies. They buy enough shares to be able to go there to the meetings and ask questions. So we're going to find out about the little tuck and bathing suit.
No.
Oh,
I don't want to
fun.
find out about it.
Yeah, there's a limit to how much we want to know. But
right. Gates McGavick from the RNC joins us about Bank the Vote. We also have to find out what the hell happened in 2022. Right?
Yeah.
What did he say to us?
He said that we're going to have a bunch of lawyers everywhere and nothing's going to get by them. And but this time, guys, they're talking about bankyourvote.com, which is a big deal, and we need to get involved in it.
Yep. And Mark Harder, Vice Chair of the St. Louis County Council at 1041. So big day, big celebration of the U.S. flag today here at the VFW Post 3944.
Okay, now you mentioned the situation with like Target. Did you see the news out of the business news about Bud Light, that in May, for the first time in forever, Bud Light was not the number one selling beer? They've lost so much that they actually got beat by Modelo when it comes to actual sales in May.
Right.
So Bud Light, I mean, I don't remember the last time that Bud Light was not the best-selling beer in America, but that's how many people have just walked away.
There's a little. What were we going to say?
No, I was just going to say. Well, I listened to the Mike Ferguson in the morning show, so yeah, I did definitely hear.
Yeah,
they were talking about that. Yeah.
But there's this little place on Main Street in Wildwood, and it's a little shack, and it's got this huge Bud Light sign on the outside. Last time I rode by it, it was nobody there. The place was it looked like a ghost town. Yeah.
Well, have you guys noticed that in grocery stores where the aisle is actually full of Bud Light and nothing else?
Oh yeah, well,
because nobody's buying it.
They're a very large section. The beer section is pretty long. It's like at Walmart. It's a full aisle of just a little refrigerated section full of beers. The Bud products always have a very large section of it, and they're always I've seen shortages everywhere else for everything else, and just since the supply chain stuff, Walmart has had trouble stocking everything. The Bud section is always full.
Wow.
Plenty of Bud Light for all you screwballs.
And then you got who was the country artist?
Oh,
who's,
Garth Brooks.
That's Garth Brooks. I think stepped in it
man.
recently too. Have you guys see any of that?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And John Rich, though, I got to tell you, John Rich has completely taken the high road with this argument because John Rich's bar, they don't have Bud Light. You can't go in there and buy a Bud Light. And Garth Brooks wants to do this, and he called us like
a-holes.
Yeah.
You know that? Hey, you guys know that Kevin Leary song? Is it Kevin Leary? The I'm a a-hole song?
Oh yeah.
I just posted when he initially posted that we were all a-holes. I posted that song for him.
Smart.
There you go.
So John Rich said, Garth Brooks has always been the guy who welcomes everybody to his music, and now he's welcoming everybody to his bar. And if he wants to do it, that's fine. But he said nobody's going to order it. So it's up to you.
Right.
The thing is that all Garth Brooks had to say is, yeah, we're going to stock it because somebody may want to buy it. If you don't want to buy Bud Light, then just buy another beer. And he could have just left it at that. But instead it was, if you're boycotting then you're the a-hole and you should go to another bar and you're not welcome in my bar. And I'm thinking, how long you been in Hollywood now, Garth? That doesn't sound like you got your stuff kickers on. I'm like,
cuss on this here radio.
Right. I'm like, yeah. I think you're losing touch with your friends in low places there.
You know what? All he had to do was open the bar. Why does he have to step into the? I got a bar. Come drink. Why does he have to specify?
After the third one, they all taste the same anyway.
And you're not required to pick a lane these days. I mean, your best effort should be not picking that lane.
Right. Yingling, baby.
All right.
Yeah,
which tastes better anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a much better. Yeah. All right, Vic Porcelli show at the VFW in Overland. What's the actual cross streets? Or people want to stop by, where do they find you?
It's on Midland Avenue, just a shot from Dorset, easy to find. When you're on Midland, you'll see flags from one block to the next out front.
And do as I did, put it in a MapQuest as VFW 3944.
I did too.
Make sure you choose the one in St. Louis, though, not the one in Texas.
Got it. That'd be right.
That'd be a problem.
He ain't there today. Yeah.
Hey,
it's easy to find.
Where's Ken? He was supposed to be here a little bit ago. He's like, I'm in Oklahoma City. I don't know why I can't get there on time.
I'm on my way.
Where are you?
And then look for the great big helicopter.
Yes. The Cobra attack
man,
helicopter.
that thing is awesome. I'm telling you, when you stand in front of it and you realize where that's been and the people who have been on it and the heroes that have been on it, it's awe-inspiring. It really is.
And happy Flag Day morning show.
That's right.
Happy
Flag
Day. Because
Donald Trump morning show.
I'm looking at Gabe Pfeiffer right in front of the great big flag hanging right here in the studio.
All right.
He just struck the Superman pose there as well. All right, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Vic Porcelli show at the VFW in Overland. Enjoy, guys. We'll be listening.
Thanks,
guys.
All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Bongino.
Remember Leslie? Donald Trump tells you the Hunter Biden laptop's real. He got spied on. Leslie Stahl's response is, Sir! She decided it'd be a good idea to take on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did not end well. Leslie Stahl's like, Sir! I mean, ma'am.
Weekdays at 11 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. My wife and I wake up every day thankful to the Wallners for the great new home they helped us find and for the tremendous success we experienced while selling our old home. The Wallners have years of experience and a work ethic that is second to none, and for us, the results speak for themselves. But Tim, it's not just the Colombo family. So many St. Louis families have been helped by Rodney and Jen Wallner.
They sure have, Tony. So if you have been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. The market is changing, but it's still a great time to sell. Put that experience and work ethic to work for you and see firsthand why the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor before this window of opportunity passes you by. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wonder to yourself about how much you can get for it or how fast it could sell. Just call the Wallner team now and get those answers so you don't have to worry or wonder another day. Just call 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
When summer gets hot, the savings are sizzling at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Right now, all customers get cash price discounts up to $3,000 with 0% financing on all John Deere compact tractor packages. This is your chance to add a hard-working, versatile tractor to your equipment lineup. Visit snpartners.com for more information. And don't miss the sizzling hot deal on compact tractors. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/31/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Home is where the heart is, but it's also where the money is too. If you want to make the most of your home, whether you're buying, selling, or staying put, tune into HomeWise, the financial talk show that gives you the real deal on home ownership. HomeWise tells you the secrets that banks, realtors, and contractors don't want you to know, and shows you how to save thousands of dollars on your mortgage, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. HomeWise, how to get the most out of every dollar you put into your home. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news.
With the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, coming up on 8:51, don't forget Vic Porcelli's show is going to be at the VFW in Overland. And we're not kidding. It's open to, they're serving food and you can go out there and get some grub. You don't have to be a member or a veteran. You can buy some lunch or a dinner, dinner, lunch. How about breakfast? Because it's 8:51 in the morning. And you can say hi to the guys right there doing the show live from there for the next couple hours.
It would be lunch for you at this point.
It
right?
is. My body clock is like
it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to lunch and say if I get a I don't usually, but if I go get a beer or something with lunch, like if I walk up to like Maggie O'Brien's or something, somebody could look at me like a little early for that, isn't it? And I'm like, no, not according to my body clock. This is late afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels that. Wait,
Yeah.
when you get up at what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
I get up at I think Stell, you get about the same time.
Yeah,
don't
I do.
you?
Yeah, that is midday is evening essentially.
Right.
And there are some restaurants that gear their menus to third shift workers.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, without a doubt. Oh, man. Okay, so Father's Day coming up this weekend, and I'm sure we'll have another Father's Day segment at some point before the end of the week as well. Do you big plans happening here? I'm one of those. I'm like, literally, if people forgot it, it wouldn't affect me at all.
I forget it.
Yeah.
I mean, you and whoever else is actually paying attention to the calendars, because you have to, because you're a radio show host,
right.
Who says, "Oh yeah, it's Father's Day weekend coming up," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah,
I mean, it's like every time I hear it, I might have heard that it was Father's Day weekend like 2 hours ago, like you said, and I forgot in between because it doesn't mean anything to me, really.
Right. Now, you better not miss Mother's Day.
Oh gosh, no.
Do not do that.
Important.
Yes. Now, my wife is the one who drives it, at the house, because like she wants to celebrate it, which is something, because she and I just married like 5 years ago, so we both had previous marriages and kids in those marriages, so like her kids are not my kids,
right?
And but still she wants to do
a Father's
that, which
Day
I
thing.
appreciate. And she's already given me a couple of the gifts, and which is nice.
Now, maybe I should make clear, I'm not saying Father's Day isn't important, because I think as a culture, we need to celebrate fatherhood more than we do in the grand scheme. I'm just saying, in terms of celebration, I don't want a party. I don't want a card.
No.
You know what I mean? If you're going to do something for me, I will appreciate it. If you're going to get me something, I will appreciate it. But I'm not all ginned up saying, "Oh, great, this is the month that Father's Day is," and I'm not. That's not this, I guess. I guess we need to make that clear. We're not poo-pooing Father's Day, because I think from a cultural aspect, it is actually important.
See, now you make me feel bad. 'Cause I'm like, I just don't care.
Well, I think that might actually say something about fatherhood in and of itself.
Yeah.
We necessarily think about others on a regular basis. You know, it's like I go to work, you know, early in the morning to do stuff so I can have resources for my family. I don't think, oh yeah, I'm going to use this and get myself a, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I think of what I can do for other people. So when Father's Day comes around, I'm not really thinking about doing. At most, I want peace.
Yeah.
I want you to leave me alone for the day.
Take a nap.
Because I've been working for a long time trying to provide for this household. Anyway.
Calm down.
And you know, the funny thing is, for all the comments we make about socks, you actually got socks.
You got socks.
Okay, so if you're watching on the video stream, this is so funny. I was at the house yesterday, and I'm walking up, and my wife says, "Hey, do you want me to give you your gift now?" Which usually means I can't wait to give it to you. Don't wait till Sunday.
Yes.
And she's heading out of town right now anyway. And I said, well, whatever you think. I mean, I'm fine. I'm not one of those that, like, if I know there's a gift, I'm not going to go searching. It's fine with me. And so she had this custom-made pair of socks with her face on it. It is so funny.
It is the best picture too of her because she is an actual college professor.
Yes.
And she looks like an actual college professor who is keeping an eye on you.
Yes.
She also looks like a mom saying, "What did you just do?
What did you just say?"
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's true. You know, not to say that. I see that now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there.
So, you know, she loves me from head to toe.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, and here's the thing, Mike, you would never have asked for.
No.
It's like, oh, give me some fun little jokey gift or something like. But when you got it, you're like, this is cool.
I laughed out loud. And I showed you guys this morning.
Oh gosh, we all laughed out loud at this.
That was great.
We still laugh out loud every time we see it.
All right, Vic Porcelli coming away. You know that they're going to be following up with the whole Trump arraignment that happened yesterday. Pretty uneventful overall as legal stuff goes.
Yeah.
Which was the best case scenario, I think, for everybody, especially the country. Protesters were out there, both pro and con. I think there were a few people yelling at each other, but everybody kind of stayed to their own side. No big problems happened.
Best case scenario there.
Yeah, law enforcement was prepared. So at this point, though, we don't really know what's next as far as timelines go. You know, we know there will be hearings and they'll set out the calendar and agree on the rules and what's allowed and not allowed. But we just don't know when that's going to happen at this point.
There's so much evidence to go over. Boxes and boxes of evidence, right? Yep. And both sides need to have their opportunity to look at all the evidence so they can prepare their cases, right? So the normal 2-week cycle, you know, that would usually be between arraignment and an actual trial start has been put off a little bit. I think it's indefinite at this point, right?
For the what now?
The space between now and when the trial starts. It's indefinite.
Yeah, they haven't set one.
They haven't
yet.
set a date, so
it's
indefinite. But I'm thinking the Trump team is going to say, okay, we saw everything, let's go.
Yeah, now,
right now.
As in, what are you doing at 2:30?
You know, it's interesting you bring up the boxes, the type of meticulous person that Trump is. The photos I've seen of the boxes that were taken by the investigators, quote unquote, there's stuff scattered everywhere. Obviously not the way he had everything stacked up at Mar-a-Lago. I find that kind of interesting. You guys just kind of left everything spread around everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be decided. I mean, that's what the evidence is. That's what they're going to be arguing over was there tampering among many other things. All right, Vic Porcelli Show coming your way here in just a few minutes, live from the VFW in Overland.
We'll do it live. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. Happy Flag Day.
Coming up on 9 a.m. in Mid-America, welcome home.
You know, when we talk about dental care, a lot of times the first thing you think about is, are my teeth white? Are there chips? Are there cavities? Do I need a crown? Yes, I need a cleaning. But have you thought about what your dental health means for the health of the rest of your body? If you're pregnant, there's a big impact of your dental health and your gum health and inflammation in and around the teeth and the gums that can impact preterm labor and